Europa League last season is West Ham's goalkeeper, Lucas Fabianski, on the bench. No Angelo Ogbonna, not even amongst the substitutes. That is why Kurt Zouma's starting. He's alongside the Moroccan Naif Aguerd at centre-back, Aaron Cresswell left-back, and Vladimir Sofal still out. So Thilo Kehrer, the German, continues at right-back. Thomas Soucek and Declan Rice in central midfield. Jared Bowen, the Brazilian Lucas Paquetá, who's really settling into life well at West Ham later on in this season, and Said Benrahma in support of Michail Antonio. 6 goals in this competition in 8 appearances for Antonio. The whistle blows and we're underway. Alkmaar, the Dutch team, the visitors, kick off and they play the ball from right to left. West Ham shooting from left to right in this first half towards the Sir Trevor Brooking stand, and Michail Antonio is already away down the left. Sliding challenge on him from the Japanese right back Yukinara Sugawara, and West Ham win a throw high on the left hand side, and Glenn Murray, your eyes being caught by the travelling support from Alkmaar. That is fantastic, isn't it? Yeah, it is. As the kickoff went there, they were jumping up and down. They're now clapping the Icelandic clap almost, and they're here for a good time, and their team will be looking to try and take some advantage home to Alkmaar. Cross into the near post, that is volleyed away by Burkima, Sam Burkima. Alkmaar's team, Matt Ryan, the Australian goalkeeper, former Brighton man. Here's a stat that West Ham fans won't want to hear. He's played West Ham 5 times for Brighton and was unbeaten, 3 wins and 2 draws. Antonio shielding the ball, playing it back to the left. West Ham trying to work it, and Declan Rice is calling for it. Now it's flicked in towards Antonio. He can't control it. And here's the opposition centre forward, Vangelis Pavlidis, who's had a fantastic season again for Alkmaar. 22 goals to his name this season, 9 of them in this competition. Matt Ryan's the goalkeeper. He's dressed all in orange. Sugawara, the Japanese right back. Mies de Wit is in for the suspended Milos Kerkez at left back. Sam Burkima and Pantelis Hatsidiakos are the 2 centre-backs. The ball is played up to the halfway line. Zouma leaps and wins a header. Jordi Clasie alongside Tijani Reinders in central midfield for Alkmaar. Then the Dane Jens Odgaard. Sven Meinens, who joined the club from Sparta Rotterdam, attacking midfielder. Wears number 16, plays in the sort of number 10 role, goal-scoring midfielder. And Myron van Brederode, the 19-year-old wide left, with Pavlidis through the middle. 2 minutes in, bit of Alkmaar possession, and here is Meinens, tall figure, green boots, plays the ball back to the left back Mies de Wit, who has made a lot of substitute appearances for the first team this season, but not many starts. So I wonder whether Jared Bowen might fancy an early run at him tonight. Yeah, I'm sure it's been mentioned in the lead up to the game that they're without their normal left back, but is Eddie Alkmaar shown quite a bit of composure here so far, keeping it at the back, willing to put their foot on the ball and invite West Ham pressure. And we just saw a long ball up to Pavlidis, the Greece striker, and Kurt Zouma comes right back through the back of him, winning his header. And I think that's going to be a theme tonight, Kurt Zouma getting tight to the striker. Keep an eye on Pavlidis. A goal in each game against Lazio in the last 16. It tells you something about Alkmaar. They went behind in both legs against Lazio and won both games by 2-1. And Pavlidis got both goals, 2 early goals, in the second leg of the quarter-final win over Anderlecht that eventually went to penalties. And by the way, if this time next week we're going all the way to penalties, Alkmaar took 4 fabulous penalties to win that tie. But let's not worry about that just yet, because we're 3 minutes into the first leg. And we're West Ham 0, Alkmaar 0. Lovely dancing feet from Paquetá. The ball is played out to Said Benrahma. Benrahma plays back here to Aguerd. Aguerd is the left-sided centre-back this evening, and Zouma on the right. And the ball is at the feet of Alphonse Areola, hugely experienced West Ham goalkeeper. Chested down by Kehrer. Kehrer is chased by Van Brederode, the 19-year-old. Kehrer holds him off and rolls a low pass into the feet of Aguerd. Aguerd looks up and Paquetá is calling for it. Instead, Aguerd tries to go through the middle and Declan Rice has to intercept after West Ham lost it. Here's Reinders. Reinders for Alkmaar, quickly forward to Meinens. That's Odgaard, the Dane, who floats a pass out to the left wing, well controlled by Van Brederode. Jinks onto his right foot on the corner of the box, floats across into the far post, beyond everyone and behind for a goal kick. Glenn Murray. That's good from Alkmaar so far. They've settled into the game, probably the better of the 2 teams. Brederode there finds the ball on the left hand side. He cuts in and he
whips a tantalising crossing. They just needed somebody gambling. Nobody there, and it goes to safety for West Ham.
16 games Alkmaar have played in this competition so far this season, won 13 of them and lost 3, have won all of their games at home. The 3 defeats have come away, one of those at Dundee United in the very early stages of the competition. They lost 1-0 and then turned it around in the second leg and won 7-0. Ball forward from West Ham, high long one towards Bowen. Bowen goes tumbling backwards, looking for a free kick for the challenge on him on the edge of the box by Hatzidiakos. Referee not interested.
I must admit there, I think Hatzidiakos was a bit clumsy, in all fairness. Bowen had his eyes on the ball, backed into him, and the Greek defender just decided to drag him down. I thought it could have been a free kick.
Yeah, there speaks the centre forward who used to back into defenders and look for that kind of thing, and quite often win them, Glenn, to be fair.
But buy them.
I didn't say that. You're putting words in my mouth again. 5 minutes gone. Glenn Murray with us at the London Stadium. West Ham 0. AZ Alkmaar 0. Alkmaar have given the ball away. Antonio lays it back to Rice. Now it comes to Ben Rama into the penalty area. Ben Rama, little ball to Paquetá, lays it off to Rice. He's closed down quickly. Loads of blue shirts around him. Cresswell's there, opens his body up and plays one out to Ben Rama. Lovely trick from the Algerian. Could have crossed that early with the left foot. Comes back with the right foot to Rice. Rice's ball into the far post. Souček about to attack it. Bowen got the header on it and looped it over the bar. If he'd left it, Souček might have been in.
Yes, Bowen rises and he's never going to get above the ball to get the ball back onto target. If he just lets this float over Souček, he's on his own at the back post and he would have a one-on-one with the goalkeeper. And no doubt in the air, Souček would have scored. Big moment for West Ham.
Would he have got the shout there? Would he have heard the shout there, Glenn, from Souček, do you think? Or once you're up, are you committed?
I think once you're up, you're committed. And yes, Bowen, he was never going to get up above that ball to bring it on target. It was more hope than anything, but I think once you're in that motion, it's almost impossible to pull out.
Souček heads the goal kick forward back into the Alkmaar half. Alkmaar come back to their goalkeeper, the Aussie Matt Ryan, who sweeps it away with his left foot. He's got Mies de Wit, the left back, in plenty of space. Bowen chases back quickly. De Wit plays back to Hatzidiakos, and the ball worked into that Alkmaar midfield, and there's Tijani Reinders again. Another rangy midfielder like Mynans, tall figure, dark hair, wears number 6, slides a pass to his right, classy infield to Mynans. Reinders is there in support, little chip ball over the top. Pavlidis tries to get on the end of it, and it's Aguerd who is back there, who deals with the danger for West Ham, and Van Brederode just lets that ball go out for a throw to Alkmaar, attacking position on the left. 0-0.
Slick play from Alkmaar there, right through the middle of the pitch. Reinders carried it. Some nice link-up play and almost gets Pavlidis in.
Ball played back by Alkmaar to the halfway line. Looking very comfortable in possession. Here's Classy. Short figure in central midfield. Plays a 1-2 with Reinders and then tries to spread the play to the right with a high looping ball. First time volleyed cross. Very easy for Areola to catch and run out to the edge of the West Ham penalty area. Bowls it out underarm. And West Ham will start to build from the back. Declan Rice, the captain, is there. Moves forward a couple of paces, then slows to a walk. Paquetá comes back towards him. He has a little 1-2 with Zuma. Through the middle of the pitch it goes to Ben Rama. Ben Rama's tackled by Classy, and Reinders plays up to the right winger, Jens Odgaard. Now, he was an injury doubt as well for Alkmaar this evening. We were hearing from Marcel van der Kraan, Dutch journalist ahead of the game, talking about the players missing on the left. Odgaard does start on the right. Pavlidis with a bullocking run forward, stopped in his tracks. West Ham turn it round. Nice ball from Paquetá. Finds Antonio, who immediately gets his head down and starts thundering towards the edge of the Alkmaar penalty. Outside of his right foot, looking for Bowen. Bowen threw himself at the cross, couldn't get a touch on it, and it's behind for a goal kick.
Yeah, it's really good play by Mikel Antonio. Direct, robust, powers towards that Alkmaar goal. And just at the last minute, he puts that ball in with the outside of his right foot, and it's just as Jarrod Bowen's bursting through 2 Alkmaar defenders and can't quite sort his feet, tries to almost throw his hip onto it, doesn't get anything onto it, and it goes out for a bye kick.
Definitely tell it's a big night at West Ham, by the way. I meant to mention this in the build-up, but these bags of sweeties, the claret and blue bags with the West Ham badge on them, full of fizzy.
I don't know what's in them, Ali.
Fizzy goodies.
You haven't offered
fizzy
me one
goodies. Help yourself, Glenn. Absolutely help yourself. Matt Ryan, Alkmaar's goalkeeper, plays it to Hatzidiakos, the centre-back on the left. He plays across his penalty area to his fellow centre-back, Sam Burkema, 24-year-old Dutchman. Forward to Classy, back to Ryan they come. Paquetá chases and chases for West Ham. Bowen speeds into the picture as well, but Alkmaar play it out well. They've worked the space extremely well, and Mies de Wit's got a lot of room to run into down the left. Crosses the halfway line and works it infield to Reinders. Reinders across to Classy. West Ham now back in numbers behind the ball, inside their own half. Here's Jordi. Classy again. And the two centre-backs get involved, and Hatzidiakos crosses the halfway line. He's encouraged to step forward. Souček comes a few paces towards him to meet him. And West Ham force Alkmaar to play across to the left. Lots of Alkmaar possession. 10 minutes played. First half here at the London Stadium. West Ham 0, Alkmaar 0. You can just see something going on in the lower tier of this stand we're sitting in amongst the West Ham fans here, and some stewards just stepping in to try and sort the situation out. Bit of pointing and shouting at the moment down there. We'll keep an eye on that. We'll keep an eye on the action as well, because Alkmaar attacking down the right. Odgaard plays it back to Reinders. Reinders to De Wit. The left back works it out to the 19-year-old Van Brederode. Back to De Wit. Lots and lots of passes being strung together here. No threat as yet from Alkmaar, and back they come again into their own half. Glenn Murray.
Very comfortable in possession, Alkmaar. Happy to keep it. I think one of their players stand out already in the opening 10 minutes is Reinders.
Yeah.
Looks a very good, classy midfielder.
He's told to look out for him. Here's Van Brederode, the young winger on the left. Back to De Wit, the left back. Slides a pass across the face of the box. Laid back to Classy, who hits it well but wide. Goal kick for West Ham.
Yes, Classy takes that on there. I can't help but feel he should have maybe slipped it out to Odgaard out on the right hand side, but Alkmaar very, very comfortable playing in their structure.
As you said before the game, Glenn, Odgaard's an odd one for us to say, isn't it? Because we're so used to Ødegaard at Arsenal. Jens Odgaard is a Dane, first season at Alkmaar, having joined from Sassuolo. And is enjoying a good season as well. Attacking threat down the right for Alkmaar, who currently sit fourth in the Dutch league, just 2 points behind Ajax in third. So once again competing for European qualification next season with 3 games to go in the Dutch domestic league. Zuma with a high lofted ball out to the left, and West Ham work it forward. Ben Rama lets it run across his body, sees the run of Antonio. The ball hits Antonio on the heels. West Ham might be able to make something of it. Ben Rama's shot tipped round the post by Ryan. That was real opportunist stuff, because the move didn't quite work out how Ben Rama and Antonio wanted, but Ben Rama suddenly saw it sitting there 25 yards out and nearly found the bottom corner.
Yes, he did. The ball fell so nicely for him. He stepped onto it. He was looking for that far corner to Matty Ryan's left hand side, tries to put bend on it. Matty Ryan's equal, it just pushes it past that left hand post.
Full stretch, absolutely full stretch, the goalkeeper there, and got the thinnest of fingertips to it. Bowen's corner right on top of the goalkeeper. Ryan punches it up in the air. Alkmaar player down in the box, header forward is well wide of the goal, and behind it goes for a goal kick. Ben Rama was probably hoping for a sort of David De Gea type save rather than a Matty Ryan full stretch.
He didn't really let go of it, did he? I mean, it bounced before the goalkeeper. He was looking for precision over power, I suppose, but so far Alkmaar, that they look comfortable in possession, building through the thirds, but West Ham do look dangerous, don't they, when they're in attack, especially Antonio making those forward runs.
We'll keep you in touch with the other European football tonight as well. So the other semi-final in this competition is Fiorentina against Basel. Referee is asking Alkmaar to get on with things here from the goal kick. Matt Ryan's just taking a little chance as Paquetá comes towards him, but releases the pass in time. And also it's the first leg of the semi-finals in the Europa League. Manchester United were hoping to be involved in these, but Sevilla knocked them out in the last round. So it's Juventus against Sevilla and Jose Mourinho's Roma against Leverkusen. Both games are 0-0. That is Mourinho against Xabi Alonso, who's in charge of Bayer Leverkusen. Alkmaar into West Ham territory. Don't worry, West Ham fans, Declan Rice has got it covered. Just make sure, and he's looking around all the time, that there's no spaces to be exploited. The ball is worked out to Van Brederode on the left-hand side. Classy plays a little 1-2 with De Wit, the left back. There's lots of movement and interchanging of position. Here's Reinders, who's caught Glenn Murray's eye early on, and he makes a little dart forward. Pavlidis tries to get it back to him. Reinders takes it on, edge of the area. Strong challenge on him by Cresswell. Cresswell picks himself up, plays the ball back here, which is cleared by Aguerd, and Antonio's been a handful again. Bumps into two defenders, holds them off, and finds Benrahma in the middle. Benrahma fouled, but gets the ball to Antonio. Advantage played, and then Paquetá overhits the pass when he possibly could have taken it on himself, or if he played the right pass, Antonio was in.
Yes, it was all about the weight of pass, because Antonio continued his run. It falls to Paquetá. All he's got to do is roll it 12 yards into his path. Unfortunate for West Ham, he puts too much on it. It goes out for a by kick, but Benrahma took quite a ride out there. He got caught by Hatziakos, the Greek centre-back. It was quite a rough challenge. I think he did get the ball, mind, but good play by West Ham again. Oh, he actually didn't get the ball. It was all Benrahma he got, and it's a nasty challenge, and rightfully the referee brings the play back and gives him a yellow card.
Yeah, just been given the yellow just now, and that was the applause from the West Ham fans, and definitely the right decision. I mean, the right decision to play the advantage, but De Wit came flying in on Benrahma from behind, didn't get the ball, just caught him on the back of the heel. Yeah,
but obviously for I think the referee did well. We're quick to criticise them, but on two accounts they did the right thing. He allowed play on, he's pulled it back, righted his wrong, and give the player a yellow card.
Alkmaar taking their time to play out from the back, and that's just getting the West Ham fans going. You just feel there needs to be a little bit more to just sort of G this stadium up a little bit, because when I listened on Sunday in the win against Manchester United, it was absolutely buzzing. I think also as night falls and it gets darker, I think that adds something as well. We're sort of on a spring evening here, so it's still light, which weirdly, I don't know why, Glenn, but does make a difference to football atmospheres.
I don't know, I think it's a really nice time of evening. The sun's setting, the lights are on, it creates a beautiful picture in front of us, and certainly when it's a semi-final of a European night, it's going to be special.
Ryan clears with his left foot for Alkmaar. Kehrer in a wrestling match with Van Brederode, and the free kick goes to Alkmaar, and Kehrer's furious and throws his arms up in the air to make his point to the referee. David Moyes is exasperated. He's giving it that I cannot believe it look, one of those withering stares, and the referee is quite sensibly avoiding that stare. Moyes now crosses his arms. 60 years old, West Ham's manager. Pascal Janssen is opposite number, 10 years younger.
Not London born, Pascal Janssen.
Yeah, that's right. So his mum, I was saying, was a pop singer, English pop singer called Sue Challoner in the band Spooky and Sue.
Yeah, and you remember them?
No, I don't. I just no, I read it in the notes, but I've not dug out the back catalogue to have a listen. Here's Classy, Jordi Classy, Alkmaar's captain, running through the West Ham midfield, finds Reinders to Van Brederode. Danger for West Ham here. Van Brederode wants the curling shot, easy for Areola, straight at him, but again Areola immediately on the look, sprints to the edge of the box to see if he can get West Ham away, because as you've been saying as well, Glenn, when they've been able to get the ball to Antonio in particular, he's caused Alkmaar huge problems running at them.
Yeah, the two centre-backs look terrified of him once he gets into his stride. I mean, his big physical presence when the ball comes up to him, but he's also got pace and power to run in behind, and I think he's going to be a real threat on the evening for West Ham.
De Wit goes sliding in there on Jarrod Bowen. He's marking Jarrod Bowen. Let's not forget, De Wit, the left-back, is on the yellow card, so I think he's going to have to be a little bit careful with that. Here's Reinders to Odgaard. I can see that the right-back Sugawara was flying up the right-hand touchline in there in support, so he's quite happy to make those forward runs. Aguerd heads the ball away. We are almost 18 minutes in on 5 Live and BBC Sounds. Benrahma's been caught by Sugawara. He's won a free kick inside the West Ham half. West Ham 0, Alkmaar 0. And as we were saying last season in the first leg of their Europa League semi-final, after a minute, West Ham were a goal down. So David Moyes is certainly going to be happier with the start this year. Although Alkmaar have looked good on the ball.
Yeah, they have. It's becoming a little bit of a cagey affair, isn't it now? But both teams are finding their feet and giving each other a level of respect when they've got the ball. They're both sitting in more or less, I would say, a mid-block and letting them try and break them down. So far, I think both managers will be relatively happy.
Yeah, cagey start to this first leg of a European semi-final, yet to burst into life. West Ham are playing the ball around inside their own half. Aguerd comes trotting forward. Declan Rice to his right, so he shovels the pass along to him. Rice to Zuma. Zuma down the right-hand touchline to Kehrer. Kehrer's closed down by Van Brederode. Plays back to Paquetá, who's almost caught, but finds Souček. Souček looking for the run of Bowen. Bowen now making that run, but De Wit starts ahead of him. make sure he gets enough on the back pass to Ryan. Ryan chips it back to DeWitt. He may not thank him for that. Controls it, closed down by Paquetá again. Back to his goalkeeper he goes. Ryan clears. Zuma comes charging forward to try and win the header. He didn't win it, but it's flicked on and only as far as Kera.
And when you say, Ali, the game's not sparked into life, that will suit Alkmaar. They'll be really happy. The crowd's gone a little bit quiet. There's nothing sort of, like you say, sparking the game into life, and that definitely suits the travelling Dutch side. Yeah,
here's Bowen. Bowen to Souček on the right. West Ham just trying to force the issue a little bit more now. Declan Rice on the ball, 10 yards inside the Alkmaar half. Across here to Paquetá, who's a little bit deeper, and lays it off to Aged. And Aged is encouraged to come forward as well. Paquetá, little poked pass to Ben Rama. Back it comes to Declan Rice in the centre circle, who whips the ball out high to the right hand side. Kera is there, brings it down, takes on Van Breda-Roda, who wins the battle. He gives it away to Bowen. Bowen gets it back from Souček onto his left foot. Now, was he pushed over there? He was stumbling forward as he tried to dribble into the box. The referee had a good view of it, and on the field he says no penalty.
Well, there's a definite bump, there's no mistake about that, and it's that man DeWitt on the yellow card, comes into the back of Bowen. I'm not sure it's quite enough to warrant a penalty.
Yeah, video assistant referee is Paolo Valeri, an Italian who'll be watching all the pictures, keeping an eye on all the key decisions. Bowen, to be fair to him, wasn't really appealing for too much. The West Ham fans got a little bit excited. Here's Cresswell, attacking position on the left. He's able to control the ball and play it back to Paquetá. Paquetá threads one through to Antonio. Antonio puts a bit of pace on that. Cresswell tries to whip it in. Ben Rama is there behind him. Ben Rama speeding around, plays the 1-2 with Paquetá, hits the shot with his right foot wide of the target, and that'll be a goal kick for AZ Alkmaar. 21 minutes played, first half at the London Stadium. West Ham 0, AZ Alkmaar 0.
Yes, and Ben Rama takes that shot on, maybe a little bit eager, 28-30 yards out. I think his team were in the ascendancy and should have played on, but I do feel down this right hand side for West Ham, Bowen and Kera getting that DeWitt. I think it's an area that David Moyes and his coaching staff will be saying, get some pressure down there.
Interesting you say that, Glenn, about being too eager. I saw David Moyes, as soon as he hit the shot with both his hands, just going, just calm down, we had it there. You know, they could have worked something else. So I think he feels exactly the same way. Alkmaar on the attack now, which is why the stadium has fallen silent, a little apprehensive as Odegaard, who likes to come in from that wide right position because he knows Sugawara is going to go on the outside. Sugawara gives it back to Odegaard, and here's Classy to DeWitt, who plays with the socks rolled down, unlike Van Breda-Roda, who's got them pulled high above the orange boots. Here's Jordi Classy just moves it to his right to Reinders, pacey pass to Odegaard. Zuma's there with an interception. Back it comes to Areola in his light grey goalkeeping jersey. Hurried clearance with his right foot. Antonio thought he was bowled over there by Hatzidiakos. Hatzidiakos is holding the back of his head as if he was caught. Antonio saying, well, basically you just shoved your body into me. The referee's not interested. Both are back on their feet, and play continues.
Yes, I think Antonio knew exactly what he was doing. He's backing in for that contact, go down, try and buy that free kick, but I'm not sure Hatzidiakos will be wanting to go into the back of Antonio too much tonight, because he's a big, strong boy.
Classy under pressure here. Declan Rice has chased him all the way back into the right back position, just sensed the opportunity to put that pressure on, and West Ham have now won the ball inside the Alkmaar half. They've played back here to Aged, across to Zuma, and Thilo Kehrer just backpedaling the right back out towards the right-hand touchline, receives it, curls a pass down the line to Bowen. Bowen moves back into his own half, chased all the way by Van Breda-Roda, and plays back to Zuma. Zuma takes every care with that pass to Declan Rice. Rice, in one swift movement, works it out to Ben Rama. Ben Rama's at walking pace, back to Declan Rice. And Rice to Paquetá. Paquetá looking for the run here of Ben Rama. Good run, lays it off to Souček, 30 yards from goal in a central position. Support on the outside from Cresswell. Chests that ball down, apparently handles it. Shame for West Ham, because that was a chance to get a good cross into the box.
Yeah, it was, and just as Thomas Souček spins that out to the left-hand side for Cresswell, I think it just checks on the turf a little bit, and it does just spin up and hit Cresswell on his right hand, and that is the right decision by the referee.
Glenn Murray with us here at the London Stadium. 24 minutes played on 5 Live and BBC Sounds. Glenn will be alongside me again, actually. I've got the joy of Glenn's company on Sunday 5 Live Premier League Sunday. Title race continues. 2 o'clock, Everton against Manchester City in full, and Glenn and I will be doing Arsenal against his former club Brighton, which promises to be a fascinating clash. On Saturday at 3 o'clock, we've got full commentary on Manchester United against Wolves. Bowen using his body strength to bump into DeWitt. He's able to turn him. He's looking to just play one into the feet of Paquetá. Couldn't find him. Up it goes to Mainans. Mainans lays it back to Reinders. Reinders gets support on the outside from the Japanese international Sugawara. Sugawara, a couple of touches, and then forward to the centre forward Pavlidis, who's a robustly built Greek centre forward, actually enjoys the physical contact. Here he is in the blue Alkmaar kit. Right-footed ball out to Van Brederode. Good run made by Mainans down the inside left channel. Back it comes to Van Brederode. And back again to DeWitt. Still inside the West Ham half. Reinders controls. Antonio closes in, and Alkmaar recycle and go around the back again.
I think one thing in this opening half for Pascal Jansen and Alkmaar, they'll want to try and get Sugawara forward a little bit more. He's got 8 assists already this season, and he's someone they'll want to try and get more involved higher up the pitch.
Odegaard to Mainans, looking for Pavlidis. Zuma slides to make an interception. Still dangerous shot over the crossbar from Mainans, who was ambitious because the space was tight to try and whip a left-footed curler into the top corner. Felt it was worth a go, and it goes over the bar for a goal kick to West Ham.
Yeah, nice play again by Alkmaar. They try and slide a pass through to Pavlidis, and it's Zuma with his studs just manages to get it out, and the shot that comes in is well over the top.
Here's Aguerd with a left-footed ball from deep, long one over Antonio's head, gives him absolutely no chance to get onto it. And a couple of goals in Europe tonight. So in the other semi-final of this competition, Fiorentina lead Basel by 1-0. Winners of this tie will play the winners of that tie, and Sevilla at it again away to Juventus. Juventus 0, Sevilla 1. Yusuf N. Nesiri, the goal scorer. And as I was saying in the quarter-final tie against Manchester United, when they win a quarter-final tie, they always, thus far, have gone on and won the competition. So ones to watch, obviously. Still 0-0 here between West Ham and Alkmaar. West Ham trying to close it down as Alkmaar play up from the back, and Bowen very nearly got there. Declan Rice is on the chase as well, and Alkmaar just escaped down the left-hand side. Souček slightly concerned, so he goes sprinting back into his own half. Mainans plays back to DeWitt.
It's funny there because Alkmaar were comfortable in possession, and Declan Rice just decided to release himself from midfield and follow that press right back to Matty Ryan, which instantly lifts the stadium, lifts his plays. Bowen follows him, and they nearly win the ball back in their 18-yard box. And I think when the game just dips a little bit like this and slows down, Declan Rice just needs to do that a little bit more often. Yeah,
it's about, isn't it, Glenn? It's about picking your moment with that. He did that on Classy a few minutes before and nearly trapped him in the right back position. Good strength from Paquetá, driving forward for West Ham, looking to find Antonio with the reverse pass into the inside right channel. That's intercepted, and suddenly Alkmaar are on the counter, although West Ham have numbers back to deal with it. Mainans across to Odegaard. Now Odegaard does have the support on the outside from Sugawara. He ignores him and comes drifting infield. Finds Classy to DeWitt. DeWitt wide to Van Brederode, the left winger. Back to DeWitt, and West Ham just quite happy to stand off at the moment as Reinders finds Odegaard. Odegaard, lofted pass to the left. Van Brederode chests it down, but he was out of play, and that is going to be a throw-in for West Ham. 28 minutes gone, and still West Ham 0, Alkmaar 0, and we've not really had a decent chance in the game as yet, have we, Glenn?
Well, I think the best opportunity, definitely from a West Ham perspective, was Ben Rama when that ball just fell nicely from about 25 yards from goal. He tried to curl it past Matty Ryan, but Matt Ryan was equal to it. Not too much power, more precision, but so far goal chances at either end have been pretty limited.
Yeah, absolutely. Here's Hatzidiakos, centre back for Alkmaar. Again, they start to build from inside their own half, inside this vast London stadium. The triangular metalwork around the floodlights, which are dotted around the stadium roofs. The red framework as well, always visible on the skyline here, of that giant, whatever it is, sort of helter-skelter speed. Have you been down that, by the way?
I can't say.
I've been down that. It's fast. Here's Matt Ryan.
Did you enjoy it?
I did actually, Glenn, yeah.
What, is it just a slide?
It's basically just a giant slide. Here's Antonio, edge of the penalty area, can't quite control it, still trying to muscle his way into position, and Alkmaar just about get it away from him. De Wit, wide to Van Brederode. Bowen lets that ball go, and Alkmaar have passed it straight out of play, throwing to West Ham.
Yeah, West Ham just finding their groove. Again, Antonio through the middle, bullying the Alkmaar defence, nearly gets in, but for a last-ditch tackle by the Alkmaar centre-back.
Right, throw in West Ham, coming up to half an hour played, 5 live in BBC Sounds. Thilo Kehrer gets ready to take it, just spinning the ball in his right hand and slings it in towards the near post. There's a bit of drift on it as well. Van Brederode is able to volley that away eventually. Here's Paquetá. Paquetá jumps into a little cushion pass, and it's Aguerd who's on the run down the right hand side. He's done really well to hold off a couple of challenges. Fancies a shot from here and slices it well wide, and just got ideas slightly above his station. I think got quite excited that he'd gone on the mazy dribble and then went for the sort of 30-yard worldie.
Yeah, he did, got way carried away there, didn't he, the centre-back. Skips past a couple of challenges, still 25 yards from goal on the angle. Decides to try and drift it in that far corner, but just drifts it into the West Ham fans. Official
name for what I've just called the giant speed slide is the ArcelorMittal Orbit. But yes, you sort of put yourself in a bag, lie flat, and it's all over very quickly, Glenn. If you fancy it one day.
Sounds fun.
Right, West Ham fans are getting annoyed here with the time it's taking for Alkmaar to restart the game from the goal kicks. The two centre-backs move either side of the penalty box. Matt Ryan stays on his line, and the referee again just steps in, almost sort of encouraged by the unhappiness of the West Ham fans to try and speed them along, although it's not made any difference.
As we tick past the third of a game, I think Alkmaar will be the happier team, should I say. Haven't conceded too many big chances, controlled a large share of possession.
Yeah, here's Paquetá. This is West Ham possession, although he's in a very tight spot here wide on the right. He's lost it. Van Brederode, first time ball back to Hatzidiakos. Ben Rama's able to slide in and intercept that. Quickly gets to his feet, then turns and plays forward to Antonio. Tackled by Burkima. Antonio's down, play continues. I'm not even sure the referee's playing an advantage there. Here's Ben Rama. West Ham still have it though, and Antonio is back on his feet and hobbling ever so slightly. Needs to get himself into a central position because Declan Rice is on the move down the inside left channel. Ben Rama busy again, outside of his right foot, finds a short one to Rice, and then Odgaard, who was next to Rice, goes down, very dramatically holding his face. Play's going to continue for the time being. As soon as the referee sees that's a potential head injury, I think he might stop this move here. Bowen wide on the right, Odgaard is still down, and the referee does stop the play, and that enrages the West Ham fans inside the stadium. We'll have a look on the monitor and see what happens.
You can hear the volume go up here in the London Stadium. They're not very happy at all, and now I think it's Odgaard. He's already up on his feet. Don't think it was an elbow at all. It might have been a hand that Declan Rice swung, but it was nothing. Especially nothing worth stopping the game for. We're just going to see a rerun of it here. Oh, he actually does catch him with it. It's not deliberate. It's a glancing elbow as he runs past. Like I said, Declan Rice, he's shaking his head. He doesn't agree, but I feel as though there's been quite a few contentious decisions that the referee doesn't seem to want to step in, does he?
No,
he wants to try and let the game flow as much as possible, especially on Antonio. Some challenges.
Yeah.
The two Alkmaar centre-backs, they're quite rough and they like to get engaged quickly and tightly and take everything, whether they get the ball or not.
Glenn Murray's described that perfectly, actually. Glancing blow is the exact description of what happened there. Rice, as he was running, his arm was up, and it's just that slight grazing blow of the elbow on nose that took Odgaard down. Antonio able to hold it up this time, play it back to Rice. Rice with a wide ball to Bowen on the right. Bowen lays it back to Kehrer. Kehrer finds Bowen again. Bowen's got two blue shirts in front of him. Down the line he goes to Souček. Souček looks to cut one back in field to Bowen. Couldn't work it through. Van Brederode plays down the left. Lovely skills from Classy in a tight spot there. And Alkmaar have found their way out. Reinders pass across, very nearly blocked by Antonio. But here it is with Burkima, who was the latest Alkmaar centre-back, to put a fairly hefty challenge in on Antonio. West Ham have won it. It's the roulette spin attempt from Ben Rama. He goes down. Referee's not interested in that one. And now Alkmaar come on the break, and here's Odgaard. Odgaard, great tackle on Odgaard by Declan Rice. Read the danger, timed the tackle, and now Paquetá on his way for West Ham. Goes running past Reinders. Aaron Cresswell senses an opportunity. Here's Ben Rama though. Ben Rama looking for Cresswell down by the byline. Cut back here, doesn't find Bowen, and it's cleared away by Sugawara and out for a throw to West Ham. That was proper attacking threat.
Yeah, from both sides, and all of a sudden the stadium's just come to light. And we're playing on, but there's one of the Alkmaar centre-backs are down in the box. It's Hatzidiakos. He's down, his arms are waving in the air. He's not very happy as the referee walks over to him. But all of a sudden the game's just sparked into life.
That's the loudest we've heard it so far in the first half. West Ham fans really getting behind their team now. They've won a free kick as well. So Hatzidiakos is down and sitting down inside the penalty area. But Ben Rama, who's been a real handful down that left-hand side for West Ham, he was caught. And it means West Ham have a free kick from wide on the left, level with the edge of the penalty area, and a chance to test this Alkmaar back line.
Yeah, and it's a good chance. Probably the best position they've been in this first half. From a dead ball situation, but again the referee doesn't really want to make a decision. He seems maybe a little bit overawed by the situation.
Possibly, yeah. He comes sprinting over from the penalty area towards the touchline to put the vanishing spray down.
To move the ball 3 yards.
Well, I wouldn't even say, I'd say less than 3 yards. But he's made a lovely little semicircle there with the vanishing spray. Great work, and it's right by the touchline there. So this could be Ben Rama with the right foot or Cresswell with the left foot, and West Ham have the big boys up to try and attack it. Last 10 minutes of the first half. Cresswell with the left foot into the near post. Antonio's flick on, blocked near the goal line and hacked away, and that'll go out for another West Ham throw on the right.
Yes, and West Ham got the first contact. It was Antonio, he flicks it. Thought it was going to come to Souček. He was crashing the back post, but in that situation, I'm not sure why they're not hitting that back post first off to try and get that advantage of Souček, who's spinning on to needs DeWitt on this left-hand side.
Throwing West Ham on the right, midway inside the Alkmaar half. 9 minutes remaining in the first half, and it is still West Ham 0, Alkmaar 0. West Ham sent some encouragement, driven on by their captain as always. Ben Rama's making another dart into space on the left. Sugawara's trying to stick with him. Ben Rama to Cresswell, straight back to Ben Rama. Ben Rama's going to run at Odgaard here. Cresswell in support on the outside. Ben Rama's having fun though. Ball at his feet, teasing and toying with defenders. Cross in over the goalkeeper with the left foot to the back post. Good delivery. DeWitt chests it behind for a corner, and it was aimed at Souček. Offside? What's he given there?
I'm not sure what he's given, to be honest.
He said the cross went out before it came back in from Ben Rama. Maybe that's it. It went behind the dead ball line.
No, I think he said somebody was holding in the box. Did he not?
Did he? Yes, he is. Saying Souček was holding.
He said it was a pull. I'm not sure who it was on. Let's see.
Who's pulling who?
No one's pulling anyone. I can guarantee
about?
you that. As we've just seen the rerun, and David Moyes just looks as perplexed as I do sat up here, because that was never
honestly
a free kick.
You see so much of that sort of stuff in the penalty area, of jostling for position and touching and pulling and tugging. There was nothing in that at all.
There's been a few clattering challenges that he hasn't blown his whistle for.
West Ham have lost it. Here's Pavlidis, cross comes into the West Ham penalty area. Van Breda-Roda couldn't get there in time. West Ham can breathe a sigh of relief for now. Here's DeWitt. DeWitt plays back to Classy. Classy, 30 yards out, just left of centre. Gets the ball back and quickly goes to DeWitt. DeWitt is faced up by Bowen, so he comes back to Classy. Classy just lays it off to Reinders. Reinders picks up speed as he moves from left to right. He's shadowed by Souček. And Reinders continues the run and plays a 1-2 with Sugawara. Odgaard fancies a dip from range, bobbling shot, and Areola is very easily across to cover it.
Good play by Alkmaar around the West Ham 18-yard box, but seems a little bit of a reluctance to put it in the box. They don't seem to want to cross it. I don't know if they feel as though West Ham have got the area advantage. But after all that nice play, it was quite a weak poor shot in the end.
Long ball up towards Antonio. Antonio stretches to control it. Yeah, I did think the last touch came off him, and the referee has given a throw in to Alkmaar inside their own half on the right-hand side. As always, all the reaction, debate, analysis to tonight's game and today's football news in the Football Daily podcast for you tomorrow morning, available on the BBC Sounds app. As ever on a Thursday, Fantasy 606, the latest Fantasy 606 podcast has arrived with your Game Week 36 preview, so I can point you in the direction of that one as well. West Ham fans again unhappy because Alkmaar taking their time over the restart. And in fact, it's not a throw-in, it's a free kick for Alkmaar inside their own half. Matt Ryan drives it forward. Aguerd plays to Declan Rice. Rice goes back to his goalkeeper Areola, and Areola thumps it high in the air straight down the middle of the pitch. It's allowed to bounce, and Antonio jumps and nods it on, and Bowen knew where that was going, picks it up, tries to hit it with the left foot, still going into the penalty area, gets away from him. The ball back now with Paquetá to Ben Rama. Ben Rama's curler not enough on it, and Matt Ryan makes a very comfortable save.
Again, it's Ben Rama, it's on his right foot, the ball's dead, and he uses the run behind him of Cresswell to try and just take that defender away, and he's looking for the left hand side of Matty Ryan again, but again, more precise, not enough power to trouble the Alkmaar goalkeeper.
Ryan, who is the Alkmaar goalkeeper, across to DeWitt. DeWitt plays back to Hatzidakis. So Hatzidakis was the one sitting down maybe 6 or 7 minutes or so ago with a slight problem, but he's continuing and seems okay. Chip ball forward from Burkima, intercepted by West Ham. Paquetá felt he got shoved there. Again, referee didn't see it. And West Ham fans further annoyed by the officiating. Van Brederode comes forward. Dancing feet up to the edge of the box. Mynans lays it into the path of Reinders. Reinders, room for a shot. Dipping shot and in. That bounced right in front of Areola. Really awkward one. Skidded off the surface. Areola's beaten. And West Ham find themselves behind at home. West Ham 0, AZ Alkmaar 1. But West Ham feel that the game should have been stopped in the build-up to that goal. And their players are now surrounding the referee.
Yes, there's a lot of frustration here by the West Ham players as they surround the referee. They're not happy, and rightfully so, because the decisions he's making they're not good enough at this level of football. But in all fairness, when Alkmaar do get forward, it's a brilliant strike. Again, they're around that 18-yard box. This time they decide to have a shot, and Reinders, what a brilliant shot it was. He bounces just before it gets the Areola. It seems to almost pick up pace off the surface and skips past the West Ham goalkeeper into the back of the net, and all of a sudden the West Ham stadium is very, very quiet.
Well, the referee's getting plenty of stick from the West Ham fans around us. He at the moment is the central figure in the drama, standing with his hand to his ear. I can see the Alkmaar players are applauding. He's had word from the video assistant referee that his on-call decision was correct. It was a leaping challenge from Burkima on Paquetá that West Ham felt was a foul on Paquetá, but actually what we saw there was as he went up, the ball hit Paquetá's hand, and Alkmaar were appealing for a free kick, and the referee was happy to let the game go. And Reinders, who you picked out early on, Glenn, as the danger man possibly for Alkmaar, has fizzed the shot into the bottom corner, and West Ham are behind.
Well, in all fairness, I don't think he's a danger man. He makes things tick in that Alkmaar midfield. He looks a very classy midfielder, for want of a better word, of his midfield partner with the same name. But that shot, I mean, I've seen it on a couple of times there on repeat, and it's a good shot, and it does skip off the surface, and it seems to pick up pace. But I think you've got to look at Areola. He's got it covered, and it's not as bad as David De Gea here at the weekend, but it's similar.
Yeah, I mean, the ball definitely moving at more pace, right into the corner of the goal. Sort of dipping, a low dipper that skidded off the surface. But I'm sure you're right that Areola himself will think, do you know what, I should have saved that.
And do you know what I'd written down here before that goal there, Ali? That early anticipation around the stadium.
Antonio trying to knock one down. Souček onto the ball, finds Ben Rama. Ben Rama's chip ball, header from Paquetá. No power on it, and Ryan leaps and grabs it easily.
Well, they could have got that wrong. It was a terrible header. He almost tried to swivel in the air, didn't touch it with his head, and it hit the hump of his back.
Do you think, going back to the initial challenge on Paquetá,
I'm just
Glenn,
trying to work out.
Do you think that was a foul that West Ham were appealing for? They feel that should have been blown for a foul, so it was it was Burkima on Paquetá. Paquetá sort of threw his arms up in the air as if he'd been shoved in the back, jumping for the header. The referee saw it, said no free kick. The ball had actually struck Paquetá's hand, so he just let the game go.
I've seen them given. I think it would have been a soft one to rule a goal out for it, in all honesty, Ali. But that header there was terrible. I don't know what he's trying to do.
Great run from Antonio, in on the left-hand side, tackled eventually, and the last touch comes off Antonio. I think Antonio knows that, but the West Ham fans now looking for any excuse to get annoyed and have a pop at the referee.
And just as West Ham were approaching that in-yard box, and you rightfully cut me off, Ali, I was saying that early anticipation around the stadium has just started turning to frustration now, hasn't it? And that was before the goal went in. I was going to say that.
West Ham 0, Alkmaar 1. Europa Conference League semi-final, first leg. Last season's semi-final of the Europa League against Eintracht Frankfurt. West Ham found themselves a goal behind in that one very early on, got it back to 1-1, but ended up losing 2-1. Behind tonight, 2 minutes of added time at the end of the first half. Benrahma and Odegaard tussling for a ball. Every single decision at the moment seems to be going Alkmaar's way, and that's certainly the feeling within the stadium as well. They've got a throw wide on the right. I can see David Moyes has just wandered over to the fourth official, Maurizio Mariani, the Italian, to have a little word in his shell like. Pavlidis has lost it for Alkmaar. Rice trying to bring it away for West Ham. Across it comes to Cresswell. Cresswell, high long ball down the left. Antonio jumps, beaten in the air by Burkima. Benrahma stretches for a loose ball inside the Alkmaar half, but can't get to it. And here's De Wit. And De Wit controls the bobbling ball and runs to his left and plays to Van Brederode. Continued the run and is annoyed that Van Brederode didn't use him, and he plays back into his own half.
Yes, he is. He's made a 70-yard long busting run there, but I can't help but feel that Brederode made the right decision. Just a little bit of game management for the 19-year-old Dutchman.
Kehrer. Now that's not a great clearance. Chance again for Alkmaar to attack here. Last minute of added time at the end of the first half. Van Brederode plays back to De Wit. West Ham cannot afford to concede a second goal now. Stadium's gone quiet. Lots of fans on the move, heading for half-time refreshments. Cresswell's headed the ball away from a defensive position. Benrahma inside his own half on the left. Two Alkmaar players for company. Wriggles his way out. The ball's now with Declan Rice. That familiar, long, powerful stride takes him across the West Ham half, and he finds Kehrer. Kehrer back to Rice. About 10 seconds left in this first half. West Ham behind. Ball with Aguerd. Might as well go long here. Declan Rice receives the pass short. It goes to Kurt Zouma. And West Ham run out of time at the end of the first half, and Declan Rice, almost sort of to the fans, just says, don't worry, calm down, long way to go. Yes, we are 1-0 behind. Has a little word with the fourth official as he stomps off the field as well. And a quarter of this tie is done, and it's not gone West Ham's way. Benrahma very nearly curled one into the bottom corner to give West Ham the lead, but it's Alkmaar who have the lead. West Ham still complaining to the referee at half-time here that they should have had a free kick in the build-up to the goal, but Reinder's shot went speeding past Areola. Glenn Murray, your thoughts?
Well, in all fairness, I feel as though Alkmaar grew in belief as the game ticked on, and they got a goal. I think it was probably against the run of play in Reinders, and like we said, he just skipped past Areola, who will be disappointed, but West Ham will need a reaction in this second half.
Yeah, West Ham with work to do. They find themselves behind at half-time. First leg of the Europa Conference League semi-final. West Ham fans unhappy. Michail Antonio still chuntering away to the referee as he heads down the tunnel here at the London Stadium. It's West Ham 0, AZ Alkmaar 1.
And Glenn, are those West Ham fans justified in being unhappy with the ref?
Yeah, I mean, I think there's a couple of moments that he could have stepped in, and there's been some rough challenges that we probably would have seen in the Premier League give us as free kicks, but he's tried to let the game flow, whether that's been the right thing or the wrong thing to do. But I think to try and pull it back and rule out the goal for that push on Paquetá, I think that would have been very soft, to be honest, but I do expect more from a referee at this level of European night.
Well, we will see in the second half. Glenn, thank you very much indeed. So, quarter away through that semi-final in that case. Second leg, of course, to come next week. We'll be back with Ali and Glenn for second half commentary from the London Stadium in around about 10 minutes or so. Mark on social media says no excuse for Areola. Terrible goalkeeping. Fabianski is number one for a reason. Other scores tonight in the Europa Conference. It's Fiorentina 1, FC Basel 0, and in the Europa League, it is currently Juventus 0, Sevilla 1 and Roma 0, Bayer Leverkusen 0. So it is 10 to 9, just coming up to that. We'll have a little hint of what you can look for in the EuroLeague's podcast during half-time. But first, let's get the news here on 5 Live. Richard Foster.
Listen on BBC Sounds. This is BBC Radio 5 Live.
Thanks, Ellie. Good evening. The National Association of Head Teachers is calling for changes to SATs in England after many children struggled to complete yesterday's reading test. The union's incoming president, Simon Kidwell, has told 5 Live the test should be accessible to pupils of all abilities.
The reading test was redesigned in 2016, and it's a shame that 7 years since the change in the curriculum, we're getting children leaving the reading test feeling like failures and getting visibly upset. So I think the government needs to do a lot better in its test design.
The Department for Education says the assessments play a vital role in tracking pupils' progress. Millions of people face higher mortgage, credit card and loan payments after the Bank of England raised interest rates for the 12th time in a row. They've gone up 0.25 percentage point to 4.5% as the bank tries to bring down inflation. The government's confirmed it'll send long-range cruise missiles to Ukraine capable of reaching targets more than 150 miles away. The Defence Secretary Ben Wallace says Britain won't stand by while Russia kills civilians. Rail experts say stripping TransPennine Express of its franchise won't be a quick fix for delays and cancellations. The government's going to take over the company's services across the north of England and between Glasgow and Edinburgh from the 29th of May. These passengers in Huddersfield say it's about time.
They're delayed a lot. I either can't get to college on time or I can't get to train on time, so it doesn't really help.
The usual with most trains, delays every time. Regardless of which provider it is, it's going to be the same no matter what.
It's mostly delayed all the time, if not cancelled. Just every day. It's not even like some days it's like 1 day, 2 days, every day. Because most of the time I'm either late to college or late coming back home.
National Grid has confirmed that wind power has overtaken gas to become the UK's biggest source of electricity for the first time. Wind turbines generated a third of the country's power over the first 3 months of this year. And a gig has had to end early after a fight broke out on stage between band members. It happened when the indie group The View were performing in Manchester last night. They ended up walking off the stage. Footage of the clash has been posted online.
Essential football listening.
Oh, what a fine goal! That was exquisite!
More live Premier League football than anyone else. 1-1-1-1.
On Saturday, our 3 o'clock commentary match is at Old Trafford. Manchester United take on Wolves. And on Sunday, all eyes are on the title race. Everton host Manchester City from 2, followed by a trip to North London from 4:30. Arsenal versus Brighton. Essential football listening is right here, including more live Premier League football than anyone else.
This is 5 Live.
This is 5 Live Sport with Eleanor Oldroyd.
So West Ham trail 1-0 at half-time in that first leg of the Europa Conference League semi-final at the London Stadium. Second half commentary to come. Some other sports headlines for you tonight. Leeds United manager Sam Allardyce says this Saturday's Premier League match with Newcastle is must not lose for his side. Leeds are 2 points from safety with 3 games left to play. Chelsea defender Georgia Fox has become the latest player in the WSL to suffer an ACL injury, ending her loan spell at Brighton. It comes amid a growing concern for player welfare in the women's game, with several stars now out on the sidelines. There's a huge game in the Scottish Women's Premier League tonight as leaders Glasgow City leads Celtic 1-0. In the Super League, Hull FC lead Wakefield Trinity 6-0 at half-time. There's commentary of that on Sports Extra. 26 players who broke away to Live Golf have received further fines and suspensions from the DP World Tour for joining the Saudi-backed series. It comes after Ian Poulter, Lee Westwood and Sergio Garcia handed in their tour cards last week after being fined. And in cricket's county championship, champions Surrey fought back in dramatic fashion to bowl Middlesex out for just 209 on day one, whilst Durham's Matthew Potts continued his impressive campaign by taking 4 wickets to help bowl out Yorkshire for 254. Well, you'll be able to catch all the reaction to tonight's game in the Football Daily podcast, but we do have our weekly EuroLeagues episode of the pod available right now. We've already had a busy week in European football with the 2 Champions League semi-finals. In today's episode, Steve Crossman, Guillaume Balaguer, Julien Laurent and James Horncastle gave us the European view on Kevin De Bruyne.
I was quite pleased for De Bruyne in a way because I think he still needs a defining moment on this stage. I think, as big as City are in the Premier League and as much as Guardiola brings the world's attention on City, they're not a legacy club. I think it's harder for a City player, for example, Guillaume was talking about Vinicius Jr. in terms of it takes years to, sort of create consensus around football journalists around the world. It's hard for City players to do that. Also because I think a lot of the time the genius and the style of play at City is just associated with one man, and that man is Guardiola. But I do think sometimes City, they don't have the legacy club tag that a Madrid, a Barcelona, even a Milan or an Inter have.
Let me check the knowledge on football of my colleagues here in the podcast today. Yeah. Who did you vote for Player of the Year for the Football Writers Association?
Oh, that's great. I didn't get a vote, so brilliant.
I don't get a vote either.
Kevin De Bruyne is who I voted for. And if they had agreed with me, then they will show that they know about football. If they hadn't, then... But it is difficult to pick him. So even though in a season in which Manchester City are going to win the league and other things that should be relevant for this vote, it just doesn't come natural to you to say Kevin De Bruyne, that's it, best player of Manchester City, best player of the Premier League. And it's for the reasons that James was saying. In Spain, for instance, he's seen as he's good. He's good.
Yeah.
But not like, oh my God, Kevin De Bruyne, Real Madrid and Barcelona should be fighting for him.
Wow. Okay.
No, not at all. And partly because we got few Kevin De Bruynes, or have had in recent years. So it's like, yeah, we see what he can do, but it's not that difficult because we got others that do that. But secondly, because it's a manager's work of art, isn't it, Manchester City? Best football we've ever seen in our lives, some points this season, or in the last few seasons. But not down to one player doing marvellous things in different parts of the pitch. Everybody are little, don't want to say robots, but they have the square of influence. Kevin De Bruyne hasn't been allowed to come out of that. And in that area of influence, he's very, very good, but not in the kind of, amazing way that will make us all turn around and says he has to be given the Ballon d'Or. Certainly in Spain, he hasn't got that kind of level.
I would be over the moon with that if I was a Manchester City fan. I'd be like, yeah, he's not even that good. You should leave him alone. You don't want him.
Yeah.
You don't want him.
Fair enough.
You're right. You don't need him. You don't need him. We'll keep him. We'll keep him.
He's 32. So I think that big move. If leaving City could be considered as a big move to go to another European club, is gone now.
It says here, Jules, that you very much want to talk about a Frenchman, which is a shock to all of us.
No, it's not that. It's just I thought Camavinga had quite an interesting game because obviously he's very much at the heart of the Real Madrid goal, and because he's still young and he's 20, and I think he will learn a lot from the game on Tuesday. But what I love about Camavinga is that he's playing in a position now in a left back, even if, especially in the second half, he came inside a lot and plays at the midfielder, which is his natural position and his best position. He doesn't like playing left back. He doesn't want to. Again, after the game, he said on French TV, this is not for me. This is not my position. I do it because I'm asked to by the coach, for whom he has a lot of respect, and to help the team. But this is not who I am. And I tweeted during the game after the goal, I said, imagine if he liked playing left back, because it would be even better. It's incredible how good he can be in a position that he doesn't like. And for someone who is still so young, who 4 months ago had never played there, not even at youth level, to still make that position his own. And there's still a lot of room for improvement, especially defensively and in his positioning, all of that, of course. I think it's remarkable that in the semi-final of the Champions League like that, against an incredible team like City, he comes up with a performance like this. And I just think it's incredible. He's someone who obviously had an incredible life, if you think about it, who was born in a refugee camp in Angola, in Africa, moved to France when he was only 2 years old, almost lost everything, him and his family, when their house near Rennes burned down when he was 11 years old. and made his debut at 16 as a prodigy, because this is what he was, and in a way he still is. Bossing a game, for example, against PSG when he was 16 with Rennes, and there was no doubt that the future was amazingly bright for him. And yet going to Real Madrid as an 18-year-old is a huge risk in a way. But look at him now, it's crazy.
Well, that was Julien Laurent. You can catch the full episode of EuroLeagues on the Football Daily podcast on BBC Sounds now. So, half-time just kind of coming towards the end at the London Stadium, with West Ham trailing 1-0 to AZ Alkmaar in the first leg of their Europa Conference League semi-final. James Collins, former West Ham defender, is back with us. James, that goal. Discussion all over social media, and Areola is trending. Should he have done better, the goalkeeper?
Yeah, I think so. I think you ask any goalkeeper, or certainly people in football, you'd look at it. It wasn't, it's a good strike, but it wasn't overly powerful. I think it's one of them. You ask a goalkeeper, sort of bounced in front of him and it's caught him a little bit by surprise. But a goalkeeper of Areola's level, you'd expect him to save it. But I've got to say, while you got me on, I think AZ need a lot of credit. I talked about the atmosphere and the feeling around West Ham before the game. AZ were excellent. They slowed the game down. Every little foul, they stayed on the floor, took the pace out of the game, took the sting out of the game, and West Ham couldn't really get into their rhythm. So as much as David Moyes would be disappointed, I think AZ Alkmaar certainly do need a lot of credit for the way they played in the first half.
So what do West Ham need to do to counter that approach then?
Try and get some rhythm into the game. They sort of slowed it down, as I mentioned, slowed it down. Fouls, the referee hasn't been particularly great from a West Ham point of view. So, there's a long way to go. West Ham certainly know they can play a lot better. They weren't fluent going forward. They had a couple of half chances, but nothing really clear cut. So West Ham can only get better. We mentioned before the game, they played a lot of games. AZ haven't played that many games in recent weeks, so fitness might come into it, but certainly a group of West Ham players and the manager will know West Ham can only be better in this second half.
West Ham 40% of the possession. The expected goals stat: West Ham 0.71, Alkmaar 0.15. Glenn Murray, you're fancying West Ham stats more there, presumably?
Well, I mean, neither stats are bowling me over there, to be perfectly honest. The possession, I expect West Ham to. I really expected West Ham to burst onto the field and use the atmosphere that the West Ham fans had created, but they didn't. They tried to feel their way into the fixture, and I felt as though they needed to strike while Alkmaar were just getting used to playing here at the London Stadium, and they let them settle on the ball a little bit too much for me. And Alkmaar, they found their rhythm, that they passed it well, and they didn't do much around the 18-yard box, but they got a shot off, and it's a mistake from the goalkeeper, and all of a sudden you've got an uphill task.
It almost had the feeling first half that West Ham were playing not to lose the game than actually go and win a game of football. It's a massive night, and the crowd's up, and Glenn's spot on. They should have used that atmosphere to kick on it in the early stages, and they didn't. They were sort of a little bit on the back foot, a little bit defensive, if you like, in the early stages, and they've been made to pay for it.
Looks like, Ali, they're going to be doing exactly what David Moyes said he didn't want to be doing, which is chasing the game.
Yeah, exactly, Ellie. West Ham just coming back out onto the field now. The bubble machine is, as always, spitting out loads and loads of those bubbles across the pitch as the song strikes up again. So far, the bubbles have been burst by the goal just before half-time. Just to clear up, Ellie, as well, on the monitor here, I've seen 7, 8, 9 different replays of the goal, and you can see David Moyes on the halfway line appealing for a foul on Lucas Paquetá because he thought Paquetá was pushed in the back. There wasn't enough, Glenn, was there, in that challenge to give a free kick? And actually, the referee's about to blow for a free kick for a handball by Paquetá, then sees that it breaks to Alkmaar and allows the advantage to be played. So I don't think West Ham can have a grumble about a foul on Paquetá. They can be disappointed that Areola didn't keep the ball out of the net, I think.
Yeah, listen, I think the original challenge, I think if it's given in that moment, you wouldn't complain. It would just be one of those things. But it wasn't given. I don't think when you look back in the VAR booth and you see that challenge, it's not worthy enough to rule a goal out of. But yeah, you're right. I think the goalkeeper will be disappointed. But in all fairness, he did skip up off the surface and gain speed. And all of a sudden, it's in the back of the net. And West Ham, well, I want to see a reaction now, to be honest, Ali.
Yeah, that's what we're expecting. Second half underway. 5 Live and BBC Sounds. We are Now looking at a darker night sky above us, floodlights shining brightly. Not every single fan back to their seats as yet. West Ham have kicked off. They're playing from right to left in the second half in the claret and blue. Alkmaar all in blue, and they lead this Europa Conference League semi-final first leg by a 1-0, having scored that just before half-time. If you are just tuning in, we'll be in the Netherlands next week for the second leg as well. Apparently Alkmaar famous for its traditional cheese market over there.
I'm sure you'll love that, Ali.
Yeah, and they're known they're known as De Kaaskoppen or De Kaasboeren, which is the cheeseheads or the cheese farmers. That's the nickname. So all those fans we're looking at over there are cheeseheads, basically. That's what they're known as. But they're leading 1-0. They're having the last laugh at the moment, and we will be there next week for the commentary on the second leg, as we will be at the Etihad Stadium and the San Siro. In fact, it's the other way round, isn't it, next week? San Siro on Tuesday and the Etihad Stadium on Wednesday for the second legs of the Champions League semi-finals. Let's see what West Ham have got in this second half here then. Areola, goalkeeper, clears with his right foot. Antonio leaps for it. The ball clears him, but it does find Jared Bowen. Bowen plays back down that right-hand touchline to Thilo Kehrer, and Kehrer comes all the way back to Areola, who's outside his penalty area on the right, closed down by Pavlidis. Long ball downfield, flicked on by Souček, and into the Alkmaar half it goes. West Ham season ticket holder came wandering over to me at half-time and was making the same point that James Collins was making about West Ham possibly not being positive enough at home at the start of this tie, and also made the point actually about whether picking Areola for the semi-final was the right thing to do. And here come Alkmaar again, and Agaird's there just in time to keep it away from Odgaard and play back to Areola, who has started every game in this competition this season, but it is a semi-final and Fabianski is the number one. So that's a debate within itself, actually, Glenn.
Well, I think it only becomes a debate when a mistake's made, and unfortunately for Areola, he's made one of those mistakes, and that's the first thing that fans are going to point out. Why change a goalkeeper? But in all fairness to David Moyes, he's done it right throughout the competition, so why change now?
And he did it right throughout the Europa League last season as well. So second half underway. West Ham have Areola in goal, Kehrer, Agaird, Zuma and Cresswell, Souček and Rice, Bowen, Paquetá, Ben Rama, who did look dangerous at times in the first half, and Michail Antonio causing that Alkmaar backline problems as well. But West Ham need to show more threat and need to test Matt Ryan in that Alkmaar goal. Ironic cheers from the West Ham fans because a free kick has been given their way early in this second half. Cresswell's ball down the left, Antonio being wrestled to the floor. Referee is not giving that one. Alkmaar play right through the middle of the field up to Mijnens here. Sven Mijnens bringing the ball forward. Van Brederode started to make his run, then had to check it in case he was offside, but does receive it. Here's the goal scorer, Reinders. Reinders plays across to Sugawara, the right back. Wide it goes to Odgaard, and West Ham need to be careful in these early minutes of the second half. Trailing Alkmaar 1-0. Down the right they come, Alkmaar. Poor pass played out by Burkima, the centre-back, and that'll be a throw into West Ham.
Very different atmosphere starting this second half compared to the first half. It was a celebratory atmosphere, a lot of excitement around the stadium, and now it just seems like there's a little bit of a slump as people make their way back to their seats, like you say, after half-time refreshments.
Jared Bowen drives the ball with his left foot onto the chest of Ben Rama, hugging the touchline on the left-hand side. Cresswell goes speeding past him on the outside. Ben Rama brings it back onto his right foot, high, curling cross to the far post. Bowen's interested, headed behind by the left-back DeWitt, and that will be a corner for West Ham. 4 minutes gone in the second half, and Zuma and Agaird and Rice and Antonio and Souček are all in that penalty area looking to get on the end of something here. Corner's going to come in from the right. Jared Bowen delivers, outpaced with his left foot. Ryan punches it up in the air and across his goal, headed down inside the 6-yard box. Antonio bundled to the floor. West Ham fans appeal hopefully. Bowen's there again, another high cross to the far post beyond everyone. Not great that, and it's gone behind for the goal kick.
No, and you can just see Bowen on the edge of the area there. He's looking down, kicking his feet a little bit because he's frustrated with his own cross there. It's loopy, it's high, and it floats over a huge group in the middle of the 6-yard box there. If anything, he can just fizz it in goalwards, low, flat, see what happens. Better than floating it out the play.
Yeah, Matt Ryan in goal for AZ Alkmaar. Yukinari Sugawara is the right back. Mies de Wit, the replacement left back on the yellow card tonight. Burkima and Hatsidiakos, the two centre-backs. They've taken their goal kick here, Alkmaar, and this is Hatsidiakos, who gets the ball from Matt Ryan. Jordi Klassie, former Southampton man, the captain for Alkmaar, alongside the goal scorer Tijani Reinders in central midfield. Jens Odgaard, Sven Meinens, Myron van Brederode, the 19-year-old winger who's on the ball now for the visitors, and the big Greek centre-forward Vangelis Pavlidis, who scored 9 goals in the Europa Conference League this season. West Ham have won the ball back. Declan Rice carries it up to the halfway line, plays it to Zuma. Zuma with his left foot goes to Kehrer. Back it comes to Souček, lays it off first time to Kehrer. West Ham trying to move it around with a little bit more pace and urgency here, and across to Aguerd inside his own half. Cresswell's there on the halfway line. It goes straight up the pitch to Ben Rama, back to Aguerd. Aguerd plays to Cresswell, who comes back to Aguerd again, and they're just being forced ever so slightly back into their own half. So Aguerd goes long. Antonio, that's beyond him, headed away. Sugawara completes the clearance. Rice is there, chests it down. He's tackled on the halfway line, and Meinens is able to come forward. Plays it to Odgaard, who loves to come in from the right, looking for Pavlidis. Couldn't control that. Up towards Antonio it goes. He's going to try and keep that in on the left-hand touchline. Great ball control under pressure. Then he goes down. Doesn't get the free kick. Throw in for Alkmaar.
No, and Antonio picks himself up with the ground there and doesn't even make any gesture towards the referee, because he knew he just tried to turn back on Sugawara. Just caught himself, fell over, and that wasn't a foul. Referee got that one right.
Quite flat from West Ham so far this evening. Trailing 1-0. Reinders under a bit of pressure from Jared Bowen, just lofts the ball over Bowen, plays across to De Wit inside his own half. De Wit to Klassie. Klassie plays back to Hatsidiakos. Paquetá tries to close that down. Reinders, lots of time and space to play across to the right hand side, and forward the ball goes into the feet of Pavlidis. Not the best first time layoff from him, so Cresswell clears up towards Antonio, tries to use his strength to hold off Burkima, but can't. He was concentrating on holding off the defender, couldn't control the ball.
Yeah, they're very aggressive with Antonio. When that ball's played up to him, the closest defender is tight to him. Very strong, physical, right into the West Ham number 9.
West Ham fans want some pressure on the ball from their team. They've got it now. Ben Rama plays it forward to Paquetá. The pass just beyond him. Stretched out a left leg, couldn't quite control it. And that was a chance gone. Odgaard up towards Klassie. Klassie, nice pass, but Odgaard's tackled wide on the right. Ben Rama looking for the 1-2 with Paquetá. Sliding challenge by Sugawara. Gets enough on the ball. I think that's Pavlidis, the centre-forward back there, who's played a lovely ball out of defence to Meinens. Meinens looks to his left and sees Van Brederode, and Mies de Wit is on the charge ahead of him down the left. They play back into midfield. Reinders, little 1-2 with Meinens. Now Van Brederode makes the run again. He's beyond the West Ham back line, and Alkmaar hold on to it for now. 8 minutes gone in the second half. 5 Live and BBC Sounds not going West Ham's way at the moment. Trailing AZ Alkmaar by a goal to 0 in this Europa Conference League semi-final first leg.
And one player from West Ham that I've been disappointed with his performance tonight is Paquetá. Nights like this that you expect the Brazilian to stand up, be counted, make special things happen, and so far he's got most things wrong. Ball over the top of Kehrer's head. He's got to be careful here. Van Brederode onto it. Kehrer breathing down his neck, but Van Brederode holds him off, plays back to De Wit. Now Van Brederode looking to get onto a ball inside the West Ham penalty area. Zuma's there first, clips it forward to Rice. Rice to Kehrer, down the line it goes to Bowen. Bowen under pressure, challenge on him from De Wit. Ball might break to Rice here, who's able to tow it to Paquetá, and again Paquetá unable to bring it under control, and Alkmaar have it back inside their own half. And so far, if Alkmaar wanted to come to London and the fixture to go a certain way, this is exactly how they would have liked it to go. Yeah, trying to reach a first European final for 42 years, and in fact only their second ever. They've never won a major European trophy. That one European final back in 1981. Lost the UEFA Cup final to Ipswich Town over 2 legs. Ipswich won the first one 3-0 at Portman Road, scored the first goal in the away leg to go 4-0 up, and ended up hanging on. They lost 4-2 in the second leg away from home, and the goalkeeper Paul Cooper made some stunning saves towards the end of that game, and that was Alkmaar's one and only major European
final. But they lead 1-0 here in this semi-final. Here's Aguerd. Aguerd looking for Paquetá, leaps, flicks the header on. Benrahma chests it down, does well, and off he goes down the left. Then turns. Odegaard drags him back by his shirt. West Ham get a free kick. Listen to that inside the stadium. Sense of injustice, I think, is sort of brooding amongst the fans here. But I think, as you were saying at the end of the first half, Glenn, they're just as frustrated with their own team and their sort of lethargy in this game.
Well, after the season ticket holder came over and spoke to us at half-time, he made his feelings clear. He wasn't very happy at all, was he, with how his team have been set out?
No, here's Aguerd. That's a terrible ball. Aguerd's just gone for a lofted high one down the middle of the pitch, and he's knocked it straight down the throat of Matt Ryan. That is not what West Ham want. And
in this semi-final here, West Ham are just starting to lose their way a little bit. Yeah. They don't seem to be playing with any fluidity, any structure. It seems to be long balls, hopeful almost.
Yeah, not being able to build on the performance and the feel-good factor of Sunday's win over Manchester United. Zuma's back in the team. On the ball, Souček plays back to Areola. Areola all in light grey, or light grey top and darker grey shorts actually, as Rice plays forward to Paquetá. Paquetá with a couple of touches, but he's caught in possession inside the Alkmaar half, and then this quick interpassing from Alkmaar. This time, well, I was going to say they'd lost it and Rice intercepted, but they've been given a free kick, Alkmaar, for a challenge in the build-up there, and there's a yellow card dished out as well to Michail Antonio, was it, for the challenge? Or was it Paquetá? Paquetá. Let's have a look. Paquetá goes chasing, having lost it. He trips over the leg of Hatzidiakos and gets booked for it.
Well, he's made some funny decisions this evening, the referee. I'm wondering if he's going to make any more as we go on and the pressure grows inside the stadium.
Right, now he's finally taking charge of the time wasting, and he's booking Burkima. Is it Burkima? No, it's not. It's Classy. He's booking Jordi Classy for delaying the taking of the free kick. So the West Ham fans are delighted about that. Is he going to continue to keep an eye on that and keep monitoring that and keep dishing out the yellow cards if he feels it's required? Matt Ryan is going to take this free kick now for Alkmaar. Long ball down the right-hand side. Pavlidis just uses his body to hold Cresswell off and chest it down. Then another free kick goes to Alkmaar. Odegaard goes down, and this is in an attacking position wide on the right, and the chance to get a decent cross into the box. And that frustration within the stadium, I think with certain decisions going against them, that can easily transmit onto the pitch as well. And David Moyes was talking ahead of this two-legged tie about keeping their heads, not losing their cool.
And that was a very soft free kick there from Aaron Cresswell. He's let so much go, the referee, all evening, and then to start giving soft free kicks around the West Ham 18-yard box, it does grow frustration. Yeah, he's not a popular man here at the moment, but we should stress the key one in the build-up to the goal that Alkmaar scored. He got that right. That was not a foul, I don't think, on Paquetá. Sugawara with the free kick. That's not good. Headed away by Paquetá. Jarrod Bowen controls, turns, and then tries to get Benrahma away down the left. A lot for Benrahma to do. DeWitt is quick. Comes across to cover it, plays back to Ryan. Benrahma scurrying across the penalty area to put him under pressure. Ryan slightly slices the clearance with his left foot, and that goes out for a throw into West Ham, and they want to take this quickly. West Ham fans encouraging their team to do so. Thilo Kehrer with the long one up towards Bowen. Bowen bumps off the defender. The ball bounces just short of the byline, cuts it back, and then the flag goes up because the ball went just behind the byline, and that's going to be a goal kick. And Jarrod Bowen, who's retreating back now, arm in the air, head back. David Moyes thought that had been given for an offside, and obviously you can't be offside from a throw-in, so he turned and went absolutely ballistic at the fourth official, and the fourth official then explained what that was given for, and you saw him go, okay. Yeah. It was a clear, the ball had gone over the line. It was the right decision again from the linesman. Glenn Murray with us here at the London Stadium. 5 Live and BBC Sounds. West Ham 0, Alkmaar 1. West Ham fans, every single time there's a restart of the game, getting on at the referee to get Alkmaar to hurry along with things. DeWitt heads the ball forward. Pavlidis, the centre forward, tries to play it back into midfield. Van Brederode has it on the left. Back to DeWitt. Bowen tries to make the tackle. Van Brederode tries to dance past Souček, and the ball goes out for a West Ham throw-in on the right. But they need to get, as you said, Glenn, they need to get some rhythm here. There's no rhythm in this West Ham performance. No, I mean, especially not at the top end of the pitch, unfortunately. They're lumping it up to Antonio, asking him to get hold of it, and then what happens from that point, they're hoping, I think. They haven't really got Ben Rama into the game as much as what they would have liked. A couple of long-range shots. Bowen again. His left back's on a yellow card. They should be feeding the ball, asking questions, and then Paqueta.
Great flick on Paqueta. Bowen might get to that on the right-hand side, inside the penalty area, onto the left foot, drives it wide. Matt Ryan watches it fizz past his left-hand post. Better from West Ham.
Yes, much better, but it's those three men that they need to get in the game more. It's Bowen, Ben Rama, Antonio. And Paqueta in behind them just isn't loading the gun for them. He's not giving them enough creativity around. He won that header there that just got Bowen away to get a shot off. But so far, the number 10 for West Ham, the ball's just breaking down around him too much.
We keep mentioning our angry season ticket holder that we spoke to at half-time, but another one of the grumbles was changes not coming early enough in games that weren't going West Ham's way. It'll be interesting to see what David Moyes does here this evening with the likes of Cornet, Ings, Fornals, Lanzini sitting on that West Ham bench. Ben Rama certainly a creative force. Great dribble from him, slaloming between blue Alkmaar shirts, still going up to the edge of the box, looking to play in Antonio. Pass took a deflection, didn't find Antonio, and now Reinders tries to dribble out for Alkmaar. Pavlidis flicks it round the corner. Odegaard's there. He's managed to get past Declan Rice. Rice is going to have to run ever so hard here to get back and cover it. Aguerd's got it covered. He does go chasing back and stops Odegaard there, or at least stops the momentum of the move. Reinders to Classy. Back to Reinders on the right. West Ham 0, Alkmaar 1. Quick, short, first time passing, and then a lovely ball through to Reinders, who is on... No, he's not onside. He's offside. Flag goes up. That's why I'm doing this job and not that job.
Kurt Zouma puts his hand on the ball, wants to get play started right away, wants to try and build some momentum for West Ham.
This needs some oomph, some impetus from West Ham. It's been very short of that so far this evening. And the worst thing possible is to kind of let these occasions pass you by. And yes, they will get a second bite at the cherry next week away to Alkmaar.
But it's a tough place to go, Ali, and that shows in the previous rounds, doesn't it?
Yeah.
I mean, Napoli went there with a lead, got beat on the night.
Anderlecht won the first leg 2-0. Yeah, eventually lost on penalties. Here come West Ham down the right. De Witt is there, launches the ball miles in the air and out for a throw, and it goes. Huge spaces in this London stadium between touchline and stands.
I mean, when you do look at the West Ham substitutes, Moyes has got options. He's got Ings, Cornet, Lanzini, Fornals. He has got attacking players, creativity on the bench. So it's just when he decides he wants to introduce that.
He's got hands on hips at the moment, the manager. Long throw in from Kehrer into the penalty area, headed away. The ball is high, dropping down on the edge of the box. Nodded forward by Bowen. Antonio chests it down, tried the overhead kick. Cleared away by De Witt. Controlled by Cresswell. Options left and right. He goes to the left and finds Paqueta. He tries a back heel to find Ben Rama, and it doesn't come off, and it goes straight out for a throw into Alkmaar.
And his night just seems to be getting worse. Paqueta, he Cruyffs that out of play, trying to find Ben Rama, and the arms go up in the stadium, and he even pulls his own shirt over his head.
Yeah.
Because he's so disappointed with himself.
Little flick down from Pavlidis. Danger again for West Ham here. Odegaard is running away from Souček. Van Brederode is going to be offside because he played the pass too late. And it runs through to Areola. Declan Rice wants it. Areola bowls it out to him. West Ham fans roar as their hero gets onto the ball, beats Minans, slides a lovely ball down the left for Antonio. Now Antonio's got defenders backpedaling. Low ball into the box, might come back to Antonio. Cleared away here by Burkima up to the halfway line. Aguerd steps in, awkward clearance from him. Nodded forward by Odegaard, and Cresswell is there to play it back to Areola. You feel the urgency a bit more now, though, from West Ham.
Yeah, and I also think Alkmaar do as well, because Sven Minans was coming out there, waving his arms, trying to drag his team out, because West Ham are just getting up a little bit of momentum. They will want more, but it's a start.
Roma have scored against Leverkusen in the Europa League semi-final, so Roma lead Leverkusen by 1-0. Sevilla still 1-0 up away to Juventus in the other semi-final in that competition, and in this one the winners of this tie meet Fiorentina or Basel. Fiorentina 1-0 up on Basel. That was the score at half-time. There have been no further goals. Paqueta's cross in towards the far post, nodded back across goal. There's the chance. Bowen caught by the keeper. Penalty for West Ham. Matt Ryan jumps in very inadvisedly there, because Bowen was struggling to control that header. He looped it over the bar, but Ryan has clattered into the West Ham striker, who stayed down. Alkmaar's goalkeeper has been booked, and West Ham have been absolutely gifted a potential route back into this tie.
Yes, they have, and we mentioned it earlier on in the half. Try and hit Souček on that back post. He gets up above his defender, puts it back into the area, and Bowen, I mean, he's first to the ball clearly, puts the ball way over the bar, but Matt Ryan comes flying out and almost punches Bowen in the face, and the referee has got that decision correct at the first time of asking him. This will be a penalty to West Ham.
Again, Glenn, is that instinctive? Is he already committed there? Because Bowen cannot head that in, because he's not going to be able to control the header and get it underneath the bar. But is he already committed to going for that punch, and that's why he's caught him in the face?
Well, for me, it's another goalkeeping error, because Matt Ryan doesn't need to make that challenge. I think he can probably pull out of it. He's not trying to block the ball. He comes flying out a little bit, I suppose, out of control.
Yeah.
As Bowen heads it over, he catches him in his face, and the referee has got one thing right tonight, and it is a penalty, as we see Ben Rama step over it. He's had a couple of sighters from about 25-30 yards and a couple of occasions, this time much closer, and we want to hit the back of the net.
Get ready for the roar if this goes in. I don't think we're going to need to commentate on it. Saeed Ben Rama, the Algerian for West Ham, has calmly marched back 5 or 6 paces. Referee's having a word with the goalkeeper Matt Ryan, who gave the penalty away, and Ben Rama's itching to go. Referee just checking that all the other players aren't encroaching on the edge of the penalty area. Huge moment in this semi-final. Chance for West Ham to equalise, and as I say, the reaction from the fans will tell you. Ben Rama waits for the whistle. He pauses, and here he comes, and he's found the bottom corner. Brilliant penalty. Matt Ryan went the right way, but he couldn't keep that out, and West Ham are back in this tie. West Ham 1, Alkmaar 1.
And it's a fantastic penalty from Saeed Ben Rama. There's a lot of pressure on him as he stands over that spot. He had to wait a long time, but he goes hard and low to the goalkeeper's right. Matty Ryan guesses the right way, and for a moment his heart was in his mouth, but he finds the back of the net. He runs away in relief, a very, very happy man, and all of a sudden the stadium feels a lot different, doesn't it, Ali?
I was about to say, Glenn, before he struck it, that he scored 4 out of 4 this season for West Ham, and I thought, no, don't jinx that, because the West Ham fans are going to blame you if he misses it. So I can now say it's 5 out of 5. Cool customer from the penalty spot.
I'm sure as that ball left his foot, there was a little bit of worry, just for a millisecond, as Matty Ryan went the right way, but just can't get his palms onto the ball. West Ham are back in this game. I expect them now to take the game to Alkmaar.
Yeah, quarter of this game left. 1-1 on the night, and Alkmaar have made a change, because wide on the right, Jens Odgaard has been replaced. That's an awful tackle in midfield from Souček. Nowhere near the ball, doesn't get booked for it, but concedes the free kick, but immediately stops that Alkmaar momentum as they try and respond. Michael Lachdo has come on wide on the right. 20-year-old Swede in his first season here for Alkmaar. So he's thrown into the action. The atmosphere has definitely changed. 1-1 on the night, and we're set up for a very exciting last 22-25 minutes or so. Declan Rice plays to Ben Rama. Ben Rama towards Antonio. Rice making a great run in the middle. Antonio still going down the left. Tries to find him. The cross is blocked at the near post. Oh, Antonio caught on the edge of the box, wasn't he?
Yes, he was.
It's the challenge by Burkema, and the referee was right there, and again doesn't give the free kick.
Burkema sees the ball go over his head. He tries to do a bicycle kick, just kicks Antonio. How is that not a free kick on the edge of the area?
Glenn Murray with us here inside a raucous London stadium now. They fancy it, West Ham. It's kicked them into life. God, it took them an age to get going, but here we go. Rice wide to the goal scorer Ben Rama. Ben Rama in the mood. Jinks onto that right foot. 30 yards from goal. Back to Rice. Wide to Cresswell. Laid off to Paquetá. Paquetá to Ben Rama. Little 1-2 across to Rice. Rice still 30 yards out in the inside left channel. Just comes creeping forward. Ben Rama on that touchline on the left. Plays it to Paquetá. Paquetá starts to dribble, heading for the byline. Low cross into the box, and behind it goes for a corner. And then Paquetá whips the crowd out. And this should have been happening right from the start.
And then all of a sudden the game's changed, and West Ham are on the ascendancy. They're camped on the Alkmaar 18-yard box. They're playing passes. There's more fluidity to their play. But above all, there's more tempo, which is what the tie's been crying out for.
20 minutes plus added time remaining. West Ham 1, AZ Alkmaar 1, Europa Conference League semi-final first leg. Corner for West Ham. 62,500 eyes, pairs of eyes, trained on Aaron Cresswell. Cresswell's curling ball into that near post. Good delivery.
Antonio's down in the middle of the box.
Yeah, Zuma's down holding his face, isn't he?
Zuma, yeah.
Yeah. Holding his head in the middle of the penalty area. Alkmaar have stopped the game, so something's happened off the ball there as the cross came in. And we are going to have a stoppage in play. West Ham 1, Alkmaar 1. So we'll keep an eye on the monitors and see what's happened there. All the reaction, as always, in that Football Daily podcast, available on the BBC Sounds app for you tomorrow. Just a stray arm sort of flicked into his mouth there, Glenn, into his face.
Yeah, it was a stray arm, and it was Hatsiakos. He's just trying to get around the back of him, and he puts an arm out to protect himself and catches Zuma right in the face.
Yeah.
Not a penalty, but a nasty one for the big Frenchman.
So play back underway. By the way, talking podcast on the BBC Sounds app, the latest episode of the Match of the Day Top 10 podcast, which is an exclusive to BBC Sounds, links to Ben Rama tonight. Top 10 penalty takers in the Premier League. I'm not saying he'd be in there, I'm saying he took a penalty tonight.
Nearly fell off my chair there, Ali.
Well, I don't think he's ever missed one in club football from the record I've seen. So, I mean, he'd have to be a consideration, but he's not taken that many. But anyway.
So you're telling me Ben Rama's
No, I'm not saying that. I'm not saying that.
I was going to get on the phone to Chris Sutton there for a second.
Don't do that, please. Last 20 minutes here. West Ham 1, Alkmaar 1. For that Match of the Day Top 10 podcast, well worth a listen for you. And Jill Scott's Coffee Club is back as well. Latest pod already available on the BBC Sounds app ahead of the launch of the new series next week. Throw in for Alkmaar. And it comes to the substitute Lachdo. Gets away from Ben Rama. Plays it back to Reinders. And Reinders, in turn, finds De Witt behind him on the halfway line. Lofted ball over the top from Hatsidiakos. Pavlidis, his fellow Greek, jumps. Can't win the header. Rice receives it under pressure, plays to Cresswell. This is in West Ham's left-back position. Rice happy to take it again, whacks it clear with his left foot. The ball then bounces inside the West Ham half. Souček heads it back towards his penalty area. Awkward one for him. Paquetá now controls. Wide it comes to Ben Rama. Alkmaar chasing hard, and the ball up towards Antonio. Good chest control from Antonio. Gets away from the defender, but then runs into trouble. He's tackled, and Alkmaar have the ball again. 28 minutes gone in this second half, so just over 15 minutes left. David Moyes is waving the West Ham defensive backline up the field. Glenn.
And this is exactly what West Ham don't want. They've sort of let the game drift again now. Alkmaar, they've got their foot on the ball, they're playing their patterns, there's no high press. West Ham need to use this atmosphere to their advantage and try and use the home advantage of the first leg and make it count.
Yeah, and they've not got long left to do that. West Ham 1, Alkmaar 1. Sugawara's ball down the right was very optimistic. Lachdo easily beaten to it by Cresswell. Cresswell just plays it back to Areola. Areola slightly gets underneath the clearance. Paquetá gets his body in the way, chests it down. Lovely volleyed pass from Rice, which bounces into the path of Ben Rama just inside the Alkmaar half. Souček towards Paquetá, takes that ball on the move and on the turn. Gets it back from Ben Rama, across here to Bowen. West Ham looking more dangerous. Support on the outside from Kehrer. Kehrer takes one touch. The West Ham fans behind the goal get to their feet in anticipation. Cross comes in, and behind it goes for a goal kick. So I think they can sit down again.
Yeah, it's just as you think. West Ham are in a good position to cross the ball. Kehrer just kicks it out of play and let Alkmaar off the hook.
So we are approaching the 75th minute of the game, and I think the change is coming now for West Ham.
Funnily enough, I was season ticket holder at half time. I'm sure he did say 74 minutes, didn't he?
He did. And he's right. Danny Ings is coming on for West Ham, but it may work. It may work. David Moyes may be proved right here. It's 1-1. West Ham still very much in the time. That's a loose ball that's given possession to West Ham. Ben Rama looking for the 1-2 with Paquetá. Ben Rama's there. Little flick onto his left foot. Slides it through. Antonio on the turn here inside the penalty area. Goes down. He won't get anything for that, but he will win a corner for West Ham. He was trying to manoeuvre the ball so he could hit a right foot shot, and he just couldn't get it out from under his feet, Glenn.
Yeah, he was just trying to drag that ball along with him. It just wouldn't quite come. He couldn't get it out from under his feet as he was getting challenged from behind. Gets caught up, but he does eventually get a corner.
Now, there's been some good delivery from Jarrod Bowen from the set pieces when they've come, and Matt Ryan's been under some pressure So let's see where this one's going. Deeper to the far post. Zuma nods it down. Here's Declan Rice down by the byline. Scoops one into the box. Headed across goal. Oh, there was a hand on the line, but it's been knocked in. Antonio from close range gets West Ham in front. There may well have been a penalty given if the goal had not counted, because I think there was a hand on the line there in blocking the initial effort. But West Ham don't care. They've come from behind and they lead Alkmaar by 2-1.
And this is what we expected the tie to be like from the beginning. West Ham are in the ascendancy now as Antonio puts them in front for the first time in this semi-final first leg. And I expect them to add to this now. They'll want to make this advantage count. But you were right, Ali. There would have been a penalty if Antonio didn't tap that in from close range, because the defender kicks it onto his own arm to keep it out of the net.
VAR checking here. Did that come off Zuma's arm from the initial corner? Then Rice scoops it into the box. Lovely flicked header. There was a handball on the line. It was a Gerd's flicked header that was blocked on the line with a hand, and Antonio is right there to poke the ball home. It's whether there's a hand from Zuma.
No, it comes off his shoulder. 100% his shoulder.
Sugawara on the line. Cleared it with his
instinct from Antonio. Right place, right time. The number 9. Ball's just drifting. Managed to get the first contact. Stabs the ball home to put his side 2-1 up.
Scruffy goal, close range finish. Antonio, as Glenn says, in the right place at the right time. 7th goal in this competition in 9 appearances. And West Ham, having really not been at their best for large parts of this game this evening, now have a chance, as you say, Glenn. What have we got? 14 minutes plus added time to really push on and try and get a third here.
Yeah, and take a big advantage back to Holland, as we see Bowen skipping past defenders.
Yeah, great run from Bowen. Finds Kehrer. Kehrer delays the cross onto his left foot, edge of the area. Hits the shot across the face of goal. Well off target and behind for a goal kick.
Kehrer's got himself in a couple of good positions in the last 10 minutes and made the wrong decision on both occasions. One, he crosses it out of play. The second one, he cuts in and has a left-footed shot from 22 yards when he's got players in the box. Got to make better options.
Right, let's just see how long Matt Ryan takes over the restart here. London Stadium comes alive, electric inside here at the moment. Basel have equalised in Italy against Fiorentina, so that semi-final in this competition is 1-1. Roma still leading Leverkusen by a goal to 0, and Sevilla still 1-0 up away to Juventus in the Europa League. Here, West Ham 2, Alkmaar 1. Can West Ham add to it? How brave, how bold are they going to be and trying to push on and really give themselves a cushion ahead of the second leg next week? Danny Ings is getting ready to come on. We've got 12 minutes plus added time remaining. And then Lacto plays the ball back here to Sugawara. Sugawara was the man who blocked the Agerd header on the line with a sort of backheel volleyed attempt and then flicked it up onto his hand, and that's where Antonio was waiting to stick the ball home. Lacto on the right for Alkmaar, looking to make it towards the byline. Agerd off balance, clears on the half volley. Alkmaar keep the ball in play. Mainans plays the ball back, sliding interception from Ben Rama. Out it goes for a throw-in to the visitors. West Ham 2, Alkmaar 1. So Michail Antonio comes off. His work for tonight is done. He's puffing, he's panting, he's sweating, but he's also smiling.
But he's very, very happy, let me tell you, Ali.
He is. And he applauds the West Ham fans who applaud him as he makes his way back to his seat. Georgia Mihailovic, a young American, is going to come on for Alkmaar to replace the 19-year-old Van Brederode on the left. So Mihailovic, who was signed from Montreal Impact from the MLS in January, gets into the action. And West Ham need to try and keep the momentum going, and Alkmaar at the moment just trying to kill it a little bit. They took the lead at the end of the first half, but the Dutch club now find themselves 2-1 down. They were 2-0 down against Anderlecht in the quarter-final after the first leg, turned that around and won it on penalties. Mainans tries to drive a cross in from the right. Sugawara is going to let that run out of play for a throw-in to Alkmaar.
I think one thing about this is the team is that they never know when they're beat. They've got great togetherness and youth. and they keep going right to the very end.
Benrahma, a couple of step overs there, blocked by Sugawara. The referee thought that was a fair challenge. Here's Lacto into midfield to Mynans, back to Reinders. De Witt still on the move forward for Alkmaar. All in blue, attacking this goal away to our right. Cross comes in across the face of the West Ham box. Cresswell couldn't deal with it. Lacto drives the shot. That's initially blocked and it runs to Benrahma. Benrahma is able to find Paquetá. Great run forward here being made by Danny Ings. Saw the opportunity. Lot to do now here, out on his own, wide on the left-hand side, and not too much support. But here it comes from Paquetá. Wide left behind him. Ings makes another little darting run off the ball. Then he receives it. Then he finds Rice. Rice gives it to Benrahma. 4 West Ham players within about 10 metres of each other there, but they've worked it well. And Rice, lovely skills, tries to take it away down the left, and it gets away from him. And that's a throw into Alkmaar.
West Ham there with 4 players on this touchline. I just wonder if Dan Ings could have dropped that off and just headed for the box right away to give them an option in there, because they didn't really have anyone there. Bowen was sort of hanging around on the edge, but no point of contact in the AZ box.
Glenn Murray with us here at the London Stadium. 5 Live and BBC Sounds. Tomorrow night it'll be the Friday Football Social with Darren Fletcher, looking ahead to the weekend's football as we always do on a Friday. Saturday, our 3 o'clock commentary as we go around the grounds and bring you the news of the goals as they go in. Our Premier League base is Manchester United against Wolves. And Sunday, the title race continues. We've got full commentary on both Manchester City's and Arsenal's games. Everton, Manchester City in full at 2. Arsenal, Brighton at 4:30. And on Sports Extra at 2:30, the Women's FA Cup final between Chelsea and Manchester United. Alkmaar have passed the ball out of play. West Ham have a throw inside their own half on the left, and they lead by 2-1. And they've certainly not been at their best tonight, Glenn, but they've done enough to get themselves in front at the moment.
Well, I mean, I think you're right there. They've done enough and just enough, because I think on the play of it, AZ have been the better team.
Could be more here as Ings finds Benrahma on the left. Benrahma running at Sugawara. Lovely ball threaded through to Ings. Back heel. Benrahma over the bar. That would have been fantastic. Just couldn't keep the shot down. He was looking for that top corner, but the link up between Ings and Benrahma was beautiful.
Yes, it was indeed. A couple of 1-2s between the two of them, just on the same wavelength. A real good understanding between them. And as Benrahma arrives in that ball, he's just got to pass it into the far corner. The line's right. Just get up and under it a little bit too much. That corridor opened up, didn't it? We could see it. We were right behind it. But unfortunately leans back and puts it over the top of the bar.
As it stands, West Ham taking a 2-1 lead to the Netherlands next week, trying to reach this first major European final for 47 years. Last one was the Cup Winners' Cup. John Lyall's team in 1976 that played at the Heysel Stadium in Brussels that year and lost 4-2 to a Belgian team. In fact, Anderlecht beat them in 1976. Here's Benrahma, just the ball down, flicks it up in the air. Paquetá, all the tricks coming out now to Benrahma, into Ings. Ings lays it off to Paquetá. That's lovely from Paquetá to Benrahma. Chipped over the top for Ings to run onto. Ings can't quite get there. Intercepted on the edge of the box. Cresswell in like a shot though to win it for West Ham. And now Paquetá again looks for Ings. And Paquetá, with the West Ham lead, suddenly seems to have grown in confidence and form. And then he's brought down by Mynans. Right under the referee's nose, no free kick. And Alkmaar come on the counter-attack, but they get that wrong and the ball just bobbles off Mynans. He didn't see the pass coming and it goes out for a throw to West Ham.
Yes, and Alkmaar were on the attack there. They were bursting into the West Ham half and plays the ball to him, just comes off his heel and out of play. Just looking at this challenge again, I think it's a good challenge from Mynans. He does catch Paquetá as he plants, but it's a fair challenge and he does win the ball, Ali.
6 minutes plus added time remaining. West Ham 2, AZ Alkmaar 1. How much are Alkmaar going to risk? I wouldn't have thought all that much. How much are West Ham going to try and push on here against a potentially tiring Alkmaar side to try and give themselves a 2-goal cushion for next week? Benrahma in space on the left into the penalty area, tries the shot with the right foot. Well blocked by Sugawara, stuck to his task well, and he's able to come clear with the ball. Poor pass out, intercepted by Cresswell. Sugawara just stops dead in his tracks. He is tired. Paquetá to Souček, just about controlled it. Finds Benrahma. Cresswell makes the run on the outside. The cross comes into the box, headed up in the air. Souček's waiting, nods it straight at Ryan and right into his grateful gloves.
And we did mention before the game, didn't we, Ali, that West Ham have played 3 more games since the quarter-finals of this competition, but as we tick into the last 5 minutes, they look the fresher of the two. They look fitter, they look stronger. Whether that's just the momentum of the game, but definitely West Ham finishing well here.
I know I've commented on this before, but remarkably neat notes that you bring to a commentary, Glenn. Your handwriting, I would put you in our top 3 of neatest summarisers notes. I'd had Terry Butcher up there, because he keeps
surprises me, you know.
Does it?
Yeah.
Does it? Yeah, no, he keeps a very neat, tidy notebook, all sort of colour-coded.
Just a pity about the commentary in it, Ali.
5 minutes remaining. West Ham 2, Alkmaar 1. Free kick West Ham inside their own half. Now Alkmaar are complaining about West Ham's time wasted, but I think West Ham should get on with this. I honestly think next week is, well, as Alkmaar have proved tonight, is not going to be easy. And they could probably do with another goal. Souček to Bowen. Back to Souček. Looks to feed Bowen down the right. The pass is intercepted. Ball's played into midfield to Mynans. Mynans back to De Witt. De Witt right on the corner of his penalty area, chased by Bowen, and Alkmaar work it out well. Classy plays to the left. The ball through the middle to Pavlidis, who's able to take that on the turn and try and get away from Rice. Strong challenge from Rice and Zuma. Double teaming Zuma, now thundering forward. Brilliant for West Ham. Can he release the pass? Yes, he can. To Bowen on the right-hand side. Bowen darts into the area. Cross right across the face of goal. No one there to stick it away. And Danny Ings kicks the left-hand post in frustration. He made that run to the near post and wasn't there to stick it into an empty net.
Yeah, because that's where Danny Ings lives, and he's lived there for a long time. That ball right across the face of goal. He's made a career off tapping that in, and he's just a yard off the pace. Doesn't quite make up the ground, and that ball agonisingly runs out to safety.
So 3 minutes plus added time remaining, and I think David Moyes will be reasonably satisfied, not necessarily with the performance, but they will at the moment take a lead into the second leg. Rice heads it forward. West Ham on Sunday are away to Brentford in the Premier League, but of course they're 7 points clear of the relegation zone with 3 games to play, so I think they can not take their foot off the gas in that one as such, but certainly all energies will be focused on trying to make this European final. Here's Areola, who was at fault really for the goal that West Ham conceded in the first half. The ball's gone out for an Alkmaar throw in their own half, just short of the halfway line on the left, and they're quite happy to take their time still. Trailing 2-1 though.
I think the West Ham fans are getting used to getting into the semi-finals of Europe, because right now the stadium's absolutely dead, isn't it?
Exactly, yeah. I wonder how many will be out there next week inside the ground. It's not massive actually, Alkmaar Stadium. I think it's about 20,000 it holds, compact, tight little stadium, not like this. Here's Mynans. Mynans plays the ball across the halfway line. We're into the 89th minute of the game here. West Ham leading Alkmaar 2-1, and last we heard Fiorentina 1, Basel 1 in the other Europa Conference League semi-final. Winners of the 2 semis meet in Prague June the 7th to fight it out for the trophy. Paquetá's pass not pacey enough to find Benrahma on the left. Slightly late challenge from Paquetá on the big Greek centre forward Pavlidis. I wouldn't go annoying him. And Alkmaar are allowed to continue and play on with the ball inside their own half. Here's the skipper, Classy, crosses the halfway line, threads one through into the feet of Mynans. He lofts it high away to the right, brought down there by Mihailovic. Pavlidis plays it to Sugawara. Sugawara's cut back here into the box. Pavlidis drives the ball on the bounce, well blocked. Volleyed cross is over the bar and behind, and that'll be a goal kick to West Ham. Glenn Murray.
Yeah, it's the last thing that West Ham want to do is just have a sting in the tail. They want to see this game out. They need to manage the game better. They just seem to be sleepwalking into the second leg here at the moment.
Yeah.
The momentum's gone. They've come from behind to go 2-1 up, and as we tick towards the 90th minute, we see another substitute coming on.
Yeah, I didn't see too much added time at the end of the game either. Pablo Fornals is coming on. AZ Alkmaar, in terms of European ties against English teams, have an unhappy history. Prior to tonight, they'd lost all 6 games in England, 2 against Ipswich, 1 against Liverpool, Newcastle, Arsenal and Manchester United. And it looks like being another defeat tonight. Standing ovation for Saeed Benrahma. Good performance from him, always dangerous. Scored the penalty to get the equaliser for West Ham, and we thought might be about to score another when he played the 1-2 with Ings and just couldn't quite apply the finish.
Yeah, I think it's fair to say he's been West Ham's main threat, attacking threat on the evening. Probably could have done better on a couple of occasions, but kept going, got his goal from the penalty spot and kept probing. Couldn't quite get his second.
3 minutes of added time, that's all there's going to be at the end of this first leg of this semi-final. And plenty of West Ham fans are on their way out. These two teams will do it all again next Thursday. Full commentary on 5 Live and BBC Sounds, as there has been tonight. Alkmaar have the ball inside their own half. They're being careful. They may well be about to lose the game, but having turned the quarter-final round, having lost 2-0 against Anderlecht in the first leg of that one, they will certainly feel confident of doing the same to West Ham next week. West Ham have it back. They play back to Areola. Just over 2 minutes remaining here, and Areola's just going to hit it high and long down the right-hand side of the field. Clears Danny Ings. Bowen chases. It's played back to Matt Ryan. Bowen's giving this everything he's got late in the game, and Ryan clears with his right foot up to the halfway line. Aguerd comes cruising in, chests the ball down, continues his run down the left. He's going to have to do this on his own, and he's getting away from Mihailovic. Aguerd then with a little drag back, too strong for Mihailovic, holds him off, turns away from him. Brilliant work from the Moroccan centre-back, then gets the cross in, and Ryan is able to catch that on the edge of his 6-yard box and bowls it out to De Witt. And are we going to have a late counter here from Alkmaar? De Witt plays it to his left. Pavlidis starts to make a run through the middle. Alkmaar have it on the halfway line. 90 seconds remaining in the game. West Ham were behind tonight. They've scored 2 in the second half to lead 2-1, but they've got to be concentrating here. Cross comes in from Mihailovic. Headed away. There's Aguerd. Aguerd might fancy another little run down the left. Fornals plays to Rice. Rice strokes the pass to Souček. West Ham fans want one last attack here from their team. Souček rolls it across to Kehrer. Kehrer inside his own half. Doesn't see anything on ahead of him. Plays across to Rice, back to Kehrer. Zuma's calling for it in the middle of the West Ham half, and we're ticking over into the last minute of this game. Here's Aguerd. Been excellent again for West Ham tonight. Diagonal ball, loads of space out there. Jared Bowen's able to chest it down and bring it forward. Players to aim at in the middle as well. Bowen down to the byline. Here's the cut back. Oh, Ings nearly got on the end of that with his head, but didn't make contact, and the ball goes right through the area.
Yeah, good cross from Bowen. He hits the byline, cuts it back, stands it up to the back stick, and it's Ings just trying to cut inside. I think it was Sugawara. Can't quite get contact on the ball, and it just drifts out.
Ball at the feet of Alphonse Areola. 15 seconds remaining according to my stopwatch, and Areola's quite happy to just keep it there and say to Pavlidis, you come and get this. So I think West Ham are quite happy with the 2-1 lead that they will take to the Netherlands for next week's second leg, and that is indeed how it's going to go. And I can see a couple of West Ham fans below me punching the air and celebrating the result. Didn't look too clever at half-time, trailed to Tijani Reinder's strike, which Alphonse Areola probably could have done better with. Never really got into gear, West Ham, until much later in the game. Benrahma scored the penalty after Matt Ryan leapt into Jared Bowen and caught him in the face, and then Michail Antonio stuck one in from close range, and they do take the lead to the Netherlands, which are, on the evidence of that tonight, Glimmer, is going to be crucial actually, because Alkmaar were decent tonight.
Yeah, they were very good. They probably were the better of the two teams, but listen, at this stage of the competition, West Ham weren't pretty, but they got the job done. I think that David Moyes would probably have liked a bigger advantage going to Holland, because Alkmaar, they've got a history of turning teams over at home. But listen, it's all about getting to Prague on the 7th of June, should I say. It's not about how you do it, it's just about getting there.
One more game of football remaining. West Ham a step closer. They've won tonight. They've come from a goal down to win this game 2-1 to try and reach that first major European final for 47 years. But I think it's going to be very hard work again next week. Sighs of relief this evening, though. They turned it around. Final score here at the London Stadium. West Ham 2, AZ Alkmaar 1.
Do you get a feeling, Glenn, that they just about did enough there, West Ham? I mean, trailing at half-time, but to come back, were you convinced?
Was I convinced with the performance? No. With the result, yes. I think that's as polite as I can be. Listen, when you go behind in a European night in a semi-final, they've showed character to come back into the game. I think both opening goals for either team were goalkeeping mistakes, and I think it was going to take that mistake from Matt Ryan, from the AZ goalkeeper, to get West Ham into the game and get a little bit of momentum. But from that point, they used that momentum. They got their noses in front. I expected a little bit more once they went 2-1 up. I expected them to try and hammer that point home and get 3 and a 4. They didn't so much. The game drifted a little bit. But at this stage of the competition, it doesn't matter. They're going to Holland with an advantage, and that is massive.
Yeah, I mean, James, you must be feeling it. James Collins back with us. You must be feeling a lot happier than you were at half-time.
Yeah, relieved more than anything, I think. So it wasn't a classic West Ham performance. You know, with all the hype we talked about before the game, big game for the football club. Maybe felt the pressure a little bit, maybe took AZ Alkmaar a little bit for granted and didn't perform, but certainly second half they came out and played slightly better. You know, did enough to probably win the game. But again, I touched on it at half-time. AZ need a lot of credit for the way they came into the game and nullified West Ham in that first half.
James, you know when you say relief there, do you feel as though that was how the West Ham supporters felt as well? Because I came here on a semi-final of a European competition. I expected it to be raucous, and it wasn't for large periods.
No, it wasn't at all. I think, Glenn, we were both here, it was before the game. And again, I've mentioned it 3 or 4 times. Credit to AZ Alkmaar for nullifying that. David Moyes would be happy. It's a game won. You know, we won the game 2-1 and going out there, but it is going to be tough. You know, the AZ team showed glimpses tonight can be a real tough opponent. So we take the win, but as you mentioned, the performance wasn't great for a night as big as it is and the atmosphere it was.
And I wonder what kind of atmosphere we're going to see in the second leg, Ali. I don't know what you know about how AZ support their team. What we do know is that they're very good at overcoming deficits.
Yeah, that's right. So you only have to go back to the last round where they were 2-0 down from the first leg against Anderlecht, turned that around, scored 2 early goals actually, and it went all the way to penalties and took 4 very good penalties. I mean, from what we've seen of their travelling support tonight, Ellie, I've never been to their stadium or watched them play a home game, but they've been brilliantly supported this evening. That they are on a fabulous kind of European adventure, just as West Ham are, and are equally desperate to reach the final. Smaller stadium, much smaller than the London Stadium, but, you know, compact, tight. That brings with it a real atmosphere in itself. I was at Tynecastle, funny enough, last weekend for the Hearts against Celtic game. And there's only 20,000 in there, but goodness me, because it's tight and you're close to the pitch, it really builds an atmosphere. And actually, what's quite nice now here, James and Glenn have just spotted this. The Alkmaar travelling support are kind of being applauded by the West Ham fans who remain in the ground, and they're both singing along to Sweet Caroline. So I think the West Ham fans are going to have a good time out there next week, but obviously the mood is going to be post-match very much dependent on whether they can make it through to that final.
Just watching Mikel Antonio doing his post-match interview and then limping off the pitch. Is that a concern for you, James?
I think he walks like that after every game, to be honest. I think he's getting to that stage where me and Glenn know fully well what 90 minutes of this pace football can do. But look, Mikel Antonio's, you know, he probably was a little bit quiet first half, but with Mikel Antonio, you can think he's not in the game and not having his best game, but he can do something at any minute that turns a game. You know, he still is and has been for a long time a big player for West Ham, whether it's the way he closes down or gets vital goals. So it won't be a concern because I've known Mick a long time now, and like I said, he moans about the littlest little knock, so I'm sure he'll be absolutely fine.
Incidentally, in that interview, he said about Alkmaar, they're a possession-based team. They know how to work it, so we decided we'll let them have it and we'll try and press them when we can. Once we get it, we'll counter quickly and try to damage you, which I think we did. Do you think they did, James?
I touched on it before the game. I'd rather see West Ham come out and press a team. Like said it 4 or 5 times now. It's a massive game. Come out and really with the intent of of being on the front foot, pressing a team. You know, they're a good team. There's no doubt in possession. You know, they're technically good as we expected. But I think Glenn touched on it with the atmosphere and the way the game was. If they really came out, you know, we've seen 4 or 5 passes between the goalkeeper and the centre halves, you know, and the West Ham team are sort of sat at the edge of the box waiting, letting them have it, if you like. I feel like if they really put them under pressure and really pressed them as, you know, with intent, I think they could have caused a few more problems. So, you know, that's clearly something the manager wanted them to do, sit back, let them have the ball. But I feel West Ham are better when they're on the front foot, closing down, attacking and putting teams under pressure.
The big difference, Ellie, obviously from last season, it's an obvious thing to say given the scoreline, is that, you know, Eintracht Frankfurt, West Ham had to go away having lost the home leg 2-1 and basically go and chase a tie, and then they lost Aaron Cresswell to a sending off early in the game, and that changed everything. Different now because they take a lead, they have a lead, don't they, Glenn? And you know, Alkmaar have got to make the running, and that might leave some spaces for West Ham on the counter.
They do take a much needed advantage, but I don't think you want to approach a game where you're trying to protect something. I mean, we can only look close to home in the Premier League, and Arsenal had a lead and they tried to protect it, and look, it's all of a sudden it's vanished, and sometimes you haven't got that time to get it back, especially in only a 90-minute game. So I'm with James. I would have liked to see West Ham impose themselves on Alkmaar. I feel as though when you boil it down, West Ham have got better players, better individuals, and if they took the game to Alkmaar, then it would have been a different outcome.
I do also, Ali touched on it, I do feel going into AZ next week, talking about the atmosphere and them being possession. West Ham are sometimes, I've seen them a lot this season, they're sometimes better in that situation. They certainly won't go there and try and protect and sit back and not try and score, but sometimes, certainly this season away from home, I feel that they've been better, where they've gone to big atmospheres and places where they've sort of been underdogs, if you like, against better teams, better passing teams or possession teams, and actually played better. So it'd be interesting to see how David Moyes goes next Thursday.
Yeah, we've got plenty more to discuss between now and 10:30.